And good one for Richmond.
Thank you very much indeed. Umpire Fallon bounces to start the game. It's Big Stones against Cloak. Neither can get a decisive tap. It's picked up for Melbourne by Glenn Lovett. He kicks the ball towards half forward. It's over the head of Ricky Jackson. He slips over as Naish goes in. Bennett goes in strongly, and there'll be a free kick to Melbourne. A high tackle on Ricky Jackson down there about 40 metres out from goal. Slightly to the members' side. Oh, Gary Lyon drops in short. He's unguarded. Cloak comes in a little late to spoil and does so effectively. And in fact is able to pick the crumbs up and get the hand pass away to Free. And the ball is kicked away and out of bounds. Well, Gary Lyon got away. Jackson was just a fraction slow getting the kick away. And the ball cleared. Good anticipation by David Cloak. He realised that the opportunity was there for the pass to be on. The ball is tapped down by Schwarz. But the boundary throwing was fairly short. And it was pushed back over the line, so it's back into play once more. Boundary umpire Barr puts it back into play. Another very short throw in. It's into the breeze there. That's why it's very short down in that practice wicket area. Barry Young got a bit of a shove in the back. The umpire Brian Sheehan saw it. Oh, and Todd Barney slips a beautiful left hook into Craig Lambert, and then come two Richmond players. There's a milling pack near the boundary line in front of the members' stand. Todd Barney's gone back into the fence. Oh, a very, very strong start to the game. Barry Young is still on the ground. By Jingo, the Richmond player's taken the kick. It's Nichols. That's good tactics. They want to get on with the game. Cloak's taken the mark. Goes for a short pass back to Nichols. He's under pressure from Schwarz. He falls over. Schwarz picks it up. Handballs it across here to Tingay. Tingay puts it down towards half forward. And the mark taken in defence for the Tigers down there by Underwood. Well, that's a quick way to break the pack up. Smart thinking by Lees and Cloak. Nichols took the ball. The player who got the free kick, Barry Young, is really in big trouble. Gale almost marked the kick back towards the wing, and the ball has gone out of bounds. Oh, the stretch is coming out for Barry Young. Now
we should hold the play up here.
Well, again, the umpires, they just now umpire Sheehan has said, that's it, fair enough.
I noticed that Young was giving Gary Lyons a lot of attention and ran straight at him at the last boundary throw-in, and I think Todd Viney must have come back with the evener upper, and it's good to see him back on his feet, Young, and he'll be looking for his opponent in Gary Lyon now.
Well, he's just about to go over and fight him.
Big recovery from a stretcher, from the trainers calling a stretcher to up and his feet playing.
And he's pushed, he's happy. You watch Lyon and Young. Young's into him again. It's on again between Young and Lyon. And Gary Lyon is certainly pretty frustrated about this situation. As boundary umpire Barr puts the ball back into play. They're wrestling at the point of the square. Cloak goes up against Steins. It's a very willing start here as Ricky Jackson goes to ground. Three Richmond players get into him, but the ball had crossed the line. So there is certainly no place for faint hearts out here today. And the emergency umpire's booked someone, I'd suggest. He's saying that, I tell you what, he's definitely going to make a report out of this, Robbie. Don't worry about that. As the ball close to the boundary line, Obst comes in and
there will be a report out of that one, I reckon.
There's no doubt about it. The emergency umpire, Turnham, has been out there, and he'll certainly make a notation in his book in the first couple of minutes of this match. We'll have to wait. Tommy Schwarz goes to ground. He's been KO'd going for the throw-in. It's Nichols a la Thompson stuff here. Jackson gets the hand pass away to Big Schwarz. In goes Lambert, and he gets a bit of a shove, Schwarz, and the ball's out of bounds. Game very slippery down in front of the members' stand. The ball's been between the wing and half forward on this side, the members' side, for the 4 minutes of play. No score on the Kodak camera and battery scoreboard. But by Jingo, she's a pretty lively opening. Obst a hand pass to Jackson. Left foot kick Jackson to half forward. Melbourne with the numbers if they can keep the ball in. Taken by Lovell. Young goes in. Handball by Lovell is good. Picked up Tingay. Fires from the boundary line and he puts it out of bounds on the full. He should have gone for a centering kick, Robbie Flower.
Very poor effort that he had space to run to, and also he had players at the end of the square and a low percentage kick going for goal from a very tight angle.
Gary Lyon's number's been taken by umpire Sheehan. He's talking to Gary Lyon, so whether Young is the player reported or whether it was Gary Lyon, we'll have to wait, but look, he has spoken to Gary Lyon and looked at his number. So a sensational start here.
He must have hit Young in the first instance, because that's when Young came up and went straight at Gary Lyons.
4.5 minutes in this quarter. Yeah, Viney, he was fighting another player. There's the ball back, and it's a great mark by Bennett, not paid. Handball by Underwood is smothered by Bennett. Underwood kicks the ball back towards the centre. Punched away from Keays by Brett Lovett. picked up for Melbourne and handball forward by Lovell. In goes free for Richmond. Nick Knights is there. Loses possession. Good handball comes out from Lovell to Glenn Lovett. Lovett's kicked the half forward, taken well on the half volley by Schwarz. His handball is a poor one wide of Todd Viney. In goes Nichols. Gets a hand pass. Lee has a fresh air attempted kick off the ground, but Campbell picks up for the Tigers. Gets the handball across to a teammate. It's picked up for Richmond by Stephen Ryan in the long sleeve sweater. Gives it back to Campbell. Long kick Campbell to half forward. Gale almost a great mark. Beautifully picked up though by Brett Lovett, who roves the pack well, kicks the ball back to the wing, but it's all Richmond in the mark taken by Campbell. He's on the wing on the outer side. And the score, nothing on the board. 5:40 first term, Kodak Camera and Battery scoreboard as we go around the grounds for the Sunday Herald Sun. Peter Welsh only at Princes Park. Off the pack, the Knights. Just back to you in a minute, Peter. Hogg almost a mark in the goal square. A step over the shoulder. Behind. 1 point to nothing. The Tigers, 1 point. Melbourne yet to score. The TV game at Moorabbin, so they won't have started. Peter Welsh at Princes Park.
Hawthorn 1-1-7. Geelong yet to score.
Thank you.
Peter Road brings the ball back into play, and it's marked in the back pocket by Earl Spalding. Spalding playing at centre-half back today, was picked at full-back, but is up the ground more. Off the hands of the pack, and it's the Tigers going forward again through Free. Free's kicked towards centre-half back, but it's marked by the opposition. It's Clark. Clark gives the handball across to Howat. Howat with the left foot down towards the centre wing, where it's picked up just inside the boundary line by Tingay. Tingay onto the centre wing and Obst in the front position. Punched away by Smith of Richmond. He goes after it again. Runs straight at Tingay. Knights comes in. Picks the ball up. Tackled and is penalised for holding the ball. So a Melbourne free kick will go the way of Viney. So it's 3 to 1, and Knights is still on the bottom of the pack. And so 1 fall against Matthew Knights, I would suggest, as we find Viney puts the ball towards half forward. Howat gathers it in well. Not Howat, but Schwarz. A big hand pass over the top. Ricky Jackson taps it over the boundary line under pressure from Bennett. And so a throw-in to take place just outside 50 metres, half forward flank for Melbourne. Melbourne yet to score. Richmond 1 behind. Kodak, Camera and Battery scoreboard. 7 minutes have gone as Cloak gets the ball down towards Lambert. Tapped back by Lambert. It comes out towards Schwarz again. Schwarz with the left foot hooks towards the boundary line. Bounces over the line for a throw-in to take place. Forward pocket for Melbourne. Members side of the ground. 7.5 minutes into the term. Only 1 score. 1 behind to Richmond. Kodak, Camera and Battery scoreboard. Goals hard to come by, but it's been a fiery start here and a possible couple of reports as we find Bennett taps the ball over the back. Obst takes it from Melbourne. Can't get rid of it. Picked up by Lyon. His kick smothered. It comes back towards that player. Hand pass from Justin Pickering out to Tony Free. Free's kick is hooked completely as he was thrown and over the boundary line on the full. No, it's a free kick down further.
Relayed free kick, Bobby.
Free kick going the way of Nichols.
And Nichols at half-back goes for a short pass back in towards Stephen Ryan, but Vic Schwarz, I tell you what, he's fired up. He anticipates well. Comes in to kick the ball off the ground up towards Obst. He's got the ball underneath him. It spills out. The umpire saw that. Gary Lyon got a push in the back. No free kick. In goes Nichols. I thought the ball was out. The boundary umpire said not. Oh, Justin Pickering got one of it. Oh, Obst got one high too. The umpires are letting it go ridiculously. And now there's a free kick to Richmond. Isn't any one of these games get out of hand, Robbie? 2 players there. 1 from Richmond and 1 from Melbourne got a high tackle, and they were totally ignored by the umpire.
Very high tackles in the umpire who's letting go. I was surprised Lions didn't get one for in the back either.
Stephen Ryan have kicked across the centre half back. There's mark missed by Cloak, but he's able to take possession. A handball to Free. Free gets a scrubby kick under pressure. It comes to Underwood, who gets a hand pass. It goes over the head of Cloak. Both sides making stacks of mistakes. Strong shepherding Grinter allows the ball to be picked up by Big Schwarz, but there's no one home for the Demons. They're falling down badly up forward, and it's marked in defence for Richmond by Bannock. Ryan gets a hand pass to Bannock, and the kick from Bannock out of bounds on the full, and it'll be a Melbourne free kick to be taken by Schwarz. He's everywhere. 1 point to Richmond, nothing to Melbourne, but the kick forward is a shocker. 2 Richmond players spoil one another. Justin Pickering, the hand pass is okay. Across to Barry Young. 2 bounces, 3 bounces. He goes for a long hand pass to Knights. He's got away from Glenn Lovett. Knights the foot pass, perfect to Hogg. Beautiful football by the Tigers. Running out of defence was Barry Young. And Knights, a superb pass to the lead by Hogg, and he's marked. So they've gone forward twice, the Tigers, and Jeff Hogg's got his hands on the footy both times. A quick snap from behind. This is a set shot from 45 metres. Peter Road, his opponent on the mark. Hogg to the punt road goal. Has kicked a behind. A poor kick. Goal umpire Dan said it's offline, so 2 behinds to Hogg. And on the Kodak camera and battery scoreboard at the 10-minute mark of the first quarter, Richmond 2 points lead. Melbourne yet to score. Around the grounds for the Sunday Herald Sun, or the Herald Sun today. It's Simon Beasley at Moorabbin.
Yes, and we just started here. It's North Melbourne 2 points leading St Kilda nothing.
And Peter Welsh.
10-minute mark, Hawthorn 1-2-8, Geelong yet to score.
Melbourne take the ball from centre half backward through a road out towards Glenn Lovett on the half back flank. He hooks the ball back into towards the centre. Clark takes it, marks, hand passes to Lovell. Lovell on again with another hand pass to the big fellow in Steins. Straight down the ground it comes. A hip and shoulder gets rid of the Melbourne player and back towards Bennett. Bennett picks it up, snaps towards goal. First goal of the game comes from the boot of Darren Bennett. Got the hand parcel, just tapped out of the pack, that time from Cuthbertson. And so we'll find the big fellow in Darren Bennett to put the first goal of the match after 10 minutes 30 seconds, and it's Melbourne 1 straight goal, 6 points, a 4-point lead over Richmond, 2 behinds, Kodak, camera and battery scoreboard.
Good play by Cuthbertson in scooting the ball out. I do notice he's got blood coming from his nose, and under the guidelines from the trainers, he should be off the ground till he's treated with that one.
Oh, some of these things that they get away with these days, Robbie. It's fair dinkum Mickey Mouse. Up they go in the centre. It's Cloak against Steins. Nothing on the boy. The officialdom. They should have all these things under control. Underwood well tackled. The ball comes to Spalding. Up the half forward. Oh, Gary Lyon, a fantastic mark after a wrestling contest with Barry Young. Line of Melbourne. Winds up. A ball buster. Torpedo. He got right onto it from inside the square. He's kicked it out of bounds on the full. I'll tell you what, the Richmond supporters are giving him the Bronx cheer. They must have, some of them must have seen what had happened to Barry Young. The resultant kick back by Bannock. The half-back, it clears the big fellas. Taken by Tingay. Clever hand passed out to Todd Barney. Todd Barney a long kick in towards full forward. Cuthbertson, Bennett standing his ground.
Schwarz.
Mark taken, but a free kick has been awarded to Stephen Ryan. He goes for a short pass and it comes out to Justin Pickering in the back pocket. Pickering off the left boot, looks for Gale. Steins up the spoil, out the back to Spalding, his hand. Oh! Free didn't look at the ball, he ran at Grinter, but that's okay. A hand pass comes from Gale to Pickering, who handballs back to Tony Free. Hurried kick towards the centre. Glenn Lovett gets in front of Knights, under pressure. Knights pushes him in the back, no free kick. Yes, there is. And Glenn Lovett gets the free kick for Melbourne. He's got the job on Knights. He got away from him just a moment ago, but Lovett doing pretty well. That's Glenn Lovett. Oh, Steins is all on his own at centre half forward. That's poor play by Cloak. And Steins marks 40 metres out from goal directly in front.
And good play by Cuthbertson again, this time by shepherding or putting his body between the opponent where Steins is going to mark the ball.
Exclusive coverage of the big game from the MCG. We've got about 25,000 fans here today. The crowd building up. And they're enjoying a very spirited start to this contest as Jimmy Steins kicks to the scoreboard goal and has put it through for only a behind. So that strong breeze, it's blowing down to the scoreboard goal in this opening quarter, is slightly across the ground of the grandstand side. Melbourne 1-1-7, Richmond 2 behinds, 2 points. Kodak camera and battery scoreboard. The kick in by Turner of Richmond comes out the half-back, taken by Todd Barney. A misdirected hand pass, but Grinter will get back in time to pick it up and screw it in towards centre half forward.
Nice kick by Grinter, an equally good mark by Lovell, but shepherding has been paid against Andrew Obst, and the kick will be taken by Craig Smith of Richmond. From half-back, he goes in towards the centre. Cloak takes the mark, hand passes on to Stephen Ryan. Ryan goes straight down the ground. Out in front, Stockdale. Couldn't take the mark, but roving first. It should be a free kick to Lambert. He caught one too high.
Twice.
Ball play on by the umpire, and it's picked up by Brett Lovett. Puts it out wide towards centre wing. Gary Lyon leading in the race for the ball. Gathers it well. Hooks it back with the left foot, but it was over the boundary line before he put boot to ball. So a throw-in to take place. Centre wing, outer side of the ground. Melbourne 1-1-7. Richmond 2 behinds. Kodak camera and battery scoreboard. And we find the throw-in on centre wing, outer side of the ground. Schwarz against Cloak. Schwarz up high from behind. Got the tap down. Goes down towards centre wing. It's still just inside the... No, it's out of bounds before boot to ball again. And another throw-in to take place. Campbell of Richmond tried to get the ball clear, but couldn't do so. And so we'll find now a throw-in about 25 metres closer to the Richmond goal than the previous throw-in. So this time Jimmy Steins comes down to ruck against David Cloak. Cloak gets the front position and wins the tap out. Taken by Grinter across the ground. He went short, straight across. Stephen Clark, the play he was looking for. Clark gathers it in the centre. Hand passes over the top of Nichols to Tingay. Tingay steadies and goes long, straight down the ground. In the front position, Cuthbertson punched away that time by Lees of Richmond. Over the boundary line it's carried. So a throw in to take place. Forward pocket for Melbourne, who lead by 5 points. 1-1-7 to Richmond, 2 behinds. Trent Nichols opened up and now has gone out to the centre wing. Tingay as his opponent. The other side, Campbell against Dyson as Schwarz swings the ball out. Taken by Bennett of Richmond. A hand pass wide. Underwood accepted it. Gave the hand pass on now towards Naish, who easily gets around an opponent. From the half-back flank, a little chip pass, only goes about 10 metres, but that's enough. Nichols takes it and goes on towards centre wing. Spalding couldn't take it. It's carried over the boundary line by Justin Pickering. So a throw-in to take place midway between centre wing and half-forward flank for Richmond members' side of the ground.
Terry Keays playing more across the half-forward line today. Richmond have got Hogg and young Mark Stockdale, who's kicked 28 goals in the reserves. Up in their full forward area in the goal square. The ball thrown in. Gale gets the tap down, or head down, bottom up was Underwood. In goes Justin Pickering, but Brett Lovett picks it up for Melbourne. A right foot kick. It goes out of bounds on the foot. He was very close to the boundary line when he kicked the ball, but boundary umpire Barr said the free kick was on, and Bennett will take the free kick for Richmond. Right below our commentary position, here in the media area at the MCG members stand. Northern side of the ground. 16 minutes first term, Melbourne. 1-1-7, Richmond, 2 points on the Kodak camera and battery scoreboard. Strong tackle on Naish. The ball spills free. It's kicked off the ground by Naish, but it only goes as far as Clark of Melbourne. Clark back towards the centre, and Gary Lyon, an uncontested mark, took it too easily. Sees Lovell running into the centre. The umpire's getting pretty close to the action. Cloak again, anticipating a foot pass, does it beautifully. Obst steals it off Campbell of Richmond in towards full forward. Here's Big Bennett with the Turner right on his hammer. The ball out the back, this way, that away. The hand pass comes back to Jackson from Lovell. Jackson from 40 metres out, a left foot kick the goal, a poor kick. And it's marked in the last line of defence for Richmond by Campbell, who got back there and got the hand pass away towards Des Ryan. In goes Stephen Ryan, rather. In goes Lees, but he's out bustled. The ball comes across to Dyson. A good handball, but Dyson is beautifully tackled. It's spilled. In goes Lees again. The ball at half forward for Melbourne. It's shuffled forward towards little Ricky Jackson. He's caught with it. The ball spills free. Campbell gets his hands on it for Richmond. Now it's picked up by Lovell. Lovell in towards full forward, all up, none down. Out the back to Bennett. Dribble goal. He's second. Quick recovery by the big full forward. The 4 players down there all flew. Schwarz, Bennett, Ryan and Turner, and it was Bennett who was able to double back after the ball came off the pack and dribble one through from about 5 metres out. So that's his second 38 for the season. Melbourne 2-1-13, 17-21st term. Richmond 2 points on the Kodak camera and battery scoreboard for the Herald Sun. Simon Beasley.
Yes, at the 10-minute mark, North Melbourne 1-3, 9 points, leading St Kilda 1 solitary point.
And Peter Welsh.
Hawthorn 1-2-8, trailing Geelong 1-3-9.
A free kick to David Cloak, right in the centre of the ground. Draws the player to him and hand passes on now to Tony Free. A poor kick from that player, and it's well cleared by Lovett of Melbourne. That's Brett Lovett. A long hand pass, a little bit too long it was for Tingay. Picked up by Nichols of Richmond. Hooks it back towards half forward. All Richmond. Picked up by Gale. A quick hand pass looking for Naish. It was a poor one. Naish comes back in again. It's a fiery start out there as the Tony Free picks it up. Went to hook the ball, but it's off the side of the boot. He was off balance as he went to kick it straight over the boundary line on the full. So the kick will be taken down there by Todd Viney of Melbourne. Viney from the back pocket places it towards half back. Gary Lyon up high, takes a lovely mark. Gary Lyon a bit fired up at the start of this game and could well have been reported out there earlier as Lyon puts the ball towards the wing, and it's a fine mark to Schwarz. Hand passes on to Lovell. Lovell hooks the ball across to the lead, that time from Bennett. Bennett left the ball for Cuthbertson. Cuthbertson missed the mark. It's picked up by Bennett. Snapped towards goal, but it bounces the wrong way and through for 1 point. So Darren Bennett has 2 goals, one of Melbourne's 2-2, and it's Melbourne 2-2-14. 12-point leaders over Richmond, 2 straight behinds. Kodak, camera and battery scoreboard.
And Turner of Richmond will put the ball back into play. From beneath the big scoreboard at the goal to our right, he's coming to the members' side, the defensive side today. It's a well-placed kick to centre of a mark missed by Barry Young of Richmond. In goes Tingay to push the ball back towards Todd Viney. Naish is there for Richmond. Comes now to Tingay. Tackled high by Underwood. Bad tackle. And the free kick will go to Tingay of Melbourne between wing and half forward on the members' side. And it is a very willing opening here, Robbie Flower.
Yes, they are really going hard at it. Richmond have got no big pardons in it.
Fired up all right. The kick comes across into the centre where it's marked by Dyson of Melbourne.
Very lucky at that too.
A poor kick, but in front, Lux of Fortune. Dyson from the point of the square winds up. That's a beautiful long kick right towards the centre, the full forward area. tapped down, and Bannock of Richmond is content to kick the ball off the ground through for a rush behind the Melbourne. Big Schwarz looks a bit dangerous up there too, Robbie. He's moved around very well.
Yes, he's got a good pair of hands and capable of taking a strong grab. The only thing is that he can contest with Bennett at times.
2-3-15 Melbourne to Richmond, 2 behinds, 2 points. A beautiful kick in by Turner, well into the centre square. It's tapped on okay. Justin Pickering, a long hand pass to Gale. Gale's got a double back. A short foot pass out to Trent Nichols, who marks near the point of the square in attack. Gale running one way, Underwood the other. Nichols goes to play on. Slips over. Now he gets around Tingay, has a bounce, runs up towards 50 metres. He's kicking into the breeze, so he'll put it right towards the square. Hogg up, off hands to Lambert. Lambert, a quick step, goal. Kicked by Craig Lambert. Beautiful roving of the pack. He's been very quiet so far because he hasn't been near the ball, but now he's going in and changing with Tony Free by the look of things. But Lambert has snapped Richmond's first goal. A lovely move off the pack. 2-3-15. No, Bobby, I've got it wrong. To 1-2-8. 20 and a half minutes first term. Kodak, camera and battery scoreboard.
Changing with Matthew Knights.
All in the middle.
Yes, and he has had his first kick there. Really, Melbourne have got the use of a strong breeze in this quarter, and I feel it's about a 3-goal breeze going down to the major scoreboard end. So at the 20-minute mark, they'll want to get a hurry on if they're going to gain any advantage from the use of it.
7 points to lead to the Demons. Kodak, camera and battery scoreboard. Steins coming in, a higher leap, got the tap out, not a decisive one though, and Tony Free picks it up. A poor kick, it comes off the side of the boot. Tackle goes in on, and what Melbourne play on that occasion, it was a level, but the ball eventually comes out towards centre wing. Keays leads in the race for the ball. In hot pursuit, Brett Lovett. Keays taps the ball forward. Lovett goes on after it, takes the ball away, and Lovett taps the ball forward. It was meant for Dawson, but ran past, picked up by Obst. He's dispossessed. Picked up by Keays of Richmond. In towards the centre it goes. Tap forward that time by Big Steins, but we see Melbourne losing possession of the ball, and it's eventually picked up by Campbell. A long hand pass out to Lambert. Lambert goes long and direct down towards that goal. Another goal coming up. Knights marks in the square and straight away has put the ball through. So Melbourne lead by only 1 point. Melbourne 2-3-15. Richmond with that goal by Matthew Knight moving to 2-2-14. Melbourne the lead by 1 point. Kodak, camera and battery scoreboard.
Yes, this is the danger that Melbourne would have been aware of before the game. The small players and the way they can manoeuvre and move those small players on the Richmond lineup is very dangerous. And this time when Matthew Knights found himself in open space, was picked up early by Glenn Lovett, but now finds himself down the forward line. Very dangerous player.
Tommy, you're right there. A good start now by the Tigers.
Good start by the Tigers. Once Lambert gets near that ball, he's a danger.
Ball bottled up in the centre. It's kicked off the ground now. Barry Young goes after it for Richmond. His hand pass comes out into a bit of space. Campbell of Richmond leading in the race for the ball. He's bumped as he kicks it, so it goes straight across the ground towards the boundary line. Craig Smith shepherd strongly for him. Campbell tries to kick it off the ground. He does to Stephen Ryan. A clever piece of play. Ryan a long hand pass across to Big Gale. Gale will handball it back to Free. Tony Free's kicking poorly today. That one almost, well, it is a rainmaker. Up to half forward. Punched away by Brett Lovett. In goes Glenn Lovett. Gets it across to Clark. Clark with pace. Goes for a handball when he perhaps could have gone for a kick. Got it across to Spalding. Spalding clears for Melbourne up towards half forward, and Bennett slips over as Turner comes out to take the mark for the Tigers. It's in a half back. He plays on. Run, Richmond, and that's what they're doing up towards big Stephen Ryan. He's playing very well. He's centre half back, and he's up there on the half forward line. He kicks in towards the forward pocket, but he's put it out of bounds. It bounces just inside the line, and there'll be a throw-in. Left forward pocket for the Tigers. The Demons lead by a point. 23 and a half minutes into the first term at the MCG on the Kodak camera and battery scoreboard. Melbourne 2-3-15. Richmond 2-2-14. Boundary umpire Barr puts it back into play. Up goes beautiful tap by Gale, but the Keays on the charge. He burst through, touched off the boot, so the ball deflects out of bounds, and there'll be a throw-in down there, the behind post. The Demons in front by a point. Quick score check, other matches for the Herald Sun. Simon Beasley Moorabbin.
15-minute mark, North Melbourne 2-3-15, leading the Saints at 1-2-8.
Boundary umpire puts the ball back into play. Steins in front, tries to grab it, loses out, and the umpire said shepherding, and there's going to be a free kick to Steins of Melbourne as we go to Peter Welch, Prince's Park.
Geelong by 2 points. Geelong 2-4-16, leading Hawthorn 2-2-14.
Steins with the free kick. The last line of defence in the back pocket, and Steins hooks the ball in towards the centre. Young punches the ball away from Gary Lyon. It's picked up by Knights. got the hand pass out. He goes after it again, kicks it off the ground. Tingay picks the ball up, hand passes towards the boundary line, but first there is Craig Smith of Richmond, just keeps it in play, picked up by Campbell, a hand pass to Justin Pickering, who hooks it towards half forward. Spalding in front is hung onto by Gale, so Earl Spalding of Melbourne will take the free kick down in front of the players' race here at the MCG. Across that half-back line. Spalding looks across the ground. Lovell gives a little lead in, but he ignores that one. And Earl Spalding elects to come to the members' side of the ground and centre wing. Cloak comes from the back, punches the ball forward. Over the boundary line it goes. So a throw-in to take place as Gary Lyon talks to Schwarz down there and says, move up and come up and give them something to kick to. Move around a little bit more. But it's Jimmy Steins now to compete against David Cloak. Cloak of Richmond, they jostle for position. Steins wins the tap out. Thumps it back towards the boundary line. Trent Nichols first there. Taps it over the boundary line. So a throw-in to take place on centre wing, members' side of the ground. 25 minutes had gone in the first term. Melbourne 2-3-15. Richmond 2-2-14. Melbourne 1 point leaders on the Kodak camera and battery scoreboard. Gale gets the tap out, picked up by Nichols. It rebounds out to the side. Matthew Knights is first there for Richmond. Slips over, he was about to kick it. It's fortunate for Richmond though. It's picked up by Justin Pickering. Kick back towards centre half forward. Swooping on the ball is Underwood. Gives the hand pass out to Lambert. Goal coming up as Craig Lambert spears the centre. Beautiful kick from Craig Lambert. His second goal. And Richmond go to a 5-point lead. Richmond 3-2-20. 5-point leaders over Melbourne 2-3-15. Kodak camera and battery scoreboard.
Really some poor defensive work by the Melbourne defenders there, not clearing the ball or getting on top of it and smothering it in there. The ball came out again. The little men involved in the Richmond play, Knights, Nichols, and then Lambert finally capping it off. Excellent players.
Underwood again setting it up with a good handball. I think he got the movement forward the last time at the centre bounce. Steins on a second attempt grabs it. He kicked toward half forward. It bounces cruelly for Todd Barney, but not for Tingay. Well tackled from behind though by Smith as he ran just too far. Stephen Ryan kicks the ball off the ground wide out towards the boundary line, and over she goes at left half forward for the Demons on the outer side. 26 and a half first term at the MCG. A big game, Melbourne and Richmond, exclusive to 3AK football this afternoon. And the Tigers against the breeze in this first quarter lead. 3-2-20 to Melbourne, 2-3-15 Kodak camera and battery scoreboard. Down to the Melbourne skipper Gary Lyon, who kicks to half forward. They're looking for one before the quarter time siren. Cuthbertson's in there for Melbourne. Can't pick it up. He's bundled out of the way by Barry Young. In goes Tingay. Handball's okay up to Cuthbertson, who puts it forward for Todd Barney. He's got 3 to beat. Lees comes at him. Todd Barney, he's caught with the ball. Still caught with the ball, but he just gets rid of it in time. Handball comes out towards Lovell. Lovell out to big Schwarz. He fires for goal. He's put it through. Terrific play. A good goal by big Schwarz. Good work by Lovell. And Todd Barney certainly worked for that. And the Tigers never stopped him. He really worked hard. And Melbourne are back in front. 3-3-21 to Richmond's 3-2-20. 27 and a half minutes first term at the MCG on the Kodak camera and battery scoreboard.
Yeah, well, he bounced off him like a pinball machine. He really, they couldn't grab hold of him, and the strength that Todd Viney's got is outstanding, and he used it in that situation. Good handball out by Trevor Lovell, and Schwarz capping it off with a fine goal.
Centre bounce, 1 point the lead to Melbourne. Steins up high, but Cloak wins the tap out. Could be a free kick to Obst. He caught one too high, and Andrew Obst of Melbourne will take the free kick in the centre of the ground. Obst got the short pass in and just drops in front of Glenn Lovett, but he's able to recover, picks it up and puts it out long and wide towards the half-forward line, but a fine mark taken by Anthony Bannock. Bannock hand passes straight away to Turner. Turner running down, goes towards centre wing, backing back and tapping the ball away. A beautiful effort that time by Stephen Tingay. It looked as though Lambert was set to take the mark, but Tingay was up to tap the ball over the boundary line. From the throw-in, Gale's run down from half forward, gets the tap down, tap forward by Knights, tapped on again by Lambert, but a free kick has been found. Tony Free trying to sneak away with the advantage rule, but the umpire saying give it back to Trent Nichols, who caught one too high. Nichols, the short pass straight onto the chest of Gale, and Gale is marked on centre wing. Centre wing, members side of the ground. Richmond trail by 1 point, 20-21, as Brendan Gale places a long kick towards centre half forward. Dyson punches the ball away, goes after it again, picks it up and straight into the centre with it, and loose play by Stephen Ryan. Sees Schwarz with the ball. Straight down the ground towards Bennett, punched away by Turner. Through comes Cuthbertson, misses the one he should have picked up, but he might be about back, he pats the ball back. Through comes Bennett, taps the ball onto Lambert, gets past one tackle, hooks it wide with a hand pass and finds Stephen Ryan just inside the boundary line. Ryan puts the ball around centre wing. Matthew Knight's in front, can't get away from the tackle, picked up by Spalding. On hands and knees he was able to then get up, hand pass across to Glenn Lovett, but the siren has sounded, and at quarter time it's Melbourne 3-3-21, Richmond 3-2-20, a 1 point lead to Melbourne. Kodak, camera and battery scoreboard.
No, I didn't hear the siren, nor did you, Robbie Flower. It's very hard to hear here sometimes. Free kick out of the centre. They're very niggly there, and his kick is marked by Big Bennett. He's going to the breeze. He kicks from 60 metres, but it's a beautiful kick, almost a ball burst at a full forward, and a Melbourne mark. Taken in the forward pocket by Andrew Obst. He just judged it to a nicety, but a terrific kick by Darren Bennett. There's no doubt about him, Robbie Flower. He is certainly a penetrating kick of the football.
And it was a good mark too, because he was well out of position.
Obst kicks for goal, and it curls back, and the Demons get the start they'd be looking for. A beauty. A goal kicked by Obst, and that's come at the 1 minute mark of the second quarter. So against the breeze, the Demons away well. On the Brooks scoreboard, they've stretched their lead to 7 points, 4-3-27 to 3-2-20. Bobby Skilton, the interchange players for the start of this second term.
Same as for the first quarter, Smokey. A Stretch and Beveridge for Melbourne, and Naish and Goodwin for Richmond.
Okay, as we get a quick score check for the Herald Sun. Simon Beasley, have you got a quarter time score at Moorabbin?
No, we're 26-minute mark. It's St Kilda leading 5 goals to 32 to North Melbourne 4-4-28.
Ricky Jackson kicks the ball to half forward for Melbourne. It bounces over the head of Gary Lyon. It's taken by Barry Young. He got a cuff right over the ear. He went down, and now we've got another one, because they reckon Barry Young fixed up a Melbourne player in, what do you call him, Chubba Lovell?
Chopper.
Well, I tell you what, he got a bit of a chop from Barry Young, and Obst came in and fixed him up, but she's very lively here at the moment as Young kicks to half back and Stephen Ryan marks on the member side. He plays on, has one bounce, a hand pass over the top of Todd Viney to Tony Free for Richmond to half forward, and a terrific mark taken by Brendon Gale. Just inside the 50-metre mark, he backed himself in, but the Melbourne defence could have punched the ball away with a bit more determination, I think, Robbie Flower.
He was in fine position and had his eyes all over that one. I would have been very surprised, even if they got their hands to it, he had his hands wrapped right around it.
Okay, he'll kick from just outside 50, but he's got a beautiful breeze. As well, Jones would have it right up his clacker, and he kicks towards that big scoreboard goal, but he's way offline, and it just sneaks in there. 4 behind. Melbourne 4-3-27. A goal up on Richmond 3-3-21. The ball kicked out to half back, and it's marked by Jimmy Steins on the Sports Power scoreboard. Clacker, that's the one.
Steins marks, plays on, puts it long towards centre wing. Too high that time for Schwarz. Kicked off the ground by Smith. Melbourne see the ball taken away, and it's picked up by Lambert. Lambert thrown out of the way. Well, their tempers are really frayed out there at the moment as players are throwing themselves in at each other, and it's over the boundary line. So a throw-in to take place. Half forward flank for Richmond, for Melbourne I should say. Half back flank for Richmond on the members' side of the ground.
Let's check the latest score from Princes Park. Still waiting for a quarter time score at Moorabbin. Peter Welsh at Princes Park.
Yes, Smoke, open with 2 good goals to Brendon and Platten. That makes Hawthorn 4-3-27, 10 points ahead of Geelong, who are 2-5-17.
Campbell's kick rebounds, it comes out to Cloak. Cloak got a hand pass to Free, back to Cloak again. Eventually it's Ricky Jackson of Melbourne who picks it up. His hand pass, not a good one, but it's effective. It's picked up that time by Lovett, and down went Jimmy Steins, and players going down right, left and centre as Obst gets around a couple of opponents. The short pass sees the sliding mark taken that time by Ricky Jackson, and we find now Ricky Jackson has taken the mark at centre half forward. And so little Ricky Jackson, the opportunity of bringing up the second goal for the quarter for Melbourne.
Smith being reported, Bobby, for hitting Steins.
Ricky Jackson puts the ball goalward and is just offline, so 1 point only, kicked by Ricky Jackson. So it could be the way things are going here, Smokey. Could be a busy night for the tribunal.
Gee, I would think so. So it's a 7 point lead again as Turner kicks in. A beautiful kick. It goes right to the centre of the ground, and it's marked by Campbell of Richmond. A terrific kick by young Turner. The kick by Campbell to half forward looking for Gale. He's up over the top, and he's marked again. That time over the top of Lovett. Goes for a short pass to Lovell's opponent, Keays. Good spoil by Brett Lovett. Scrumming well as Rodney Grinter from half-back member stand to Gary Lyon. Oh, he got a beautiful right cross to the solar plexus and gets the free kick. Quarter time score Moorabbin for the Herald son, Simon Beasley.
Yes, St Kilda leading by 4 points. 5 goals 2 to 4 goals 4.
Big goal kickers, any?
Oh, no, major goal. 2 Longmire and 2 McAdam for St Kilda, 2 Coghlan for St Kilda.
Okay, lock at 1. Thank you very much indeed, Simon Beasley. And just before you go, Graham, the latest from Princes Park, Peter Welsh.
Hawthorn 4-3-27, still 10 points ahead of Geelong, 2-5-17.
Thank you. David Cloak comes over the top and gets the free kick because the umpire saying that Schwarz was shepherding in the ruck. So although Cloak got the tap out, David Cloak also gets the free kick. Robbie?
Oh, strange one from mine. I thought he just stood his ground where the ball was going to land.
Well, he was in the front position for a boundary throw in, that's right. David Cloak, well, much to the delight of the Melbourne supporters, he's put it out of bounds on the full. So the free kick will go the way of Earl Spalding down there, still on centre wing. Spalding of Melbourne, centre wing, members side of the ground. Awkward looking kick, but it's covered plenty of distance in front of Steins. Taps the ball over the back, goes straight to the opposition though, and it's Stephen Ryan who puts the ball in towards the centre. It bounces the right way for Brett Lovett, who takes it and puts it long back to half forward. Schwarz couldn't take the mark. He gets good support from Andy Lovell. The hand pass over to Andrew Obst, who goes short. Bennett does well just to tap the ball away from Ricky Jackson. Jackson was just about to take what he thought may have been an easy chest mark, and Bennett threw the fist out and tapped the ball over the boundary line. So instead of a mark to Ricky Jackson, it's a throw-in to take place, forward pocket for Melbourne. 28-21 in favour of Melbourne. Brooks 3AK scoreboard. And so Big Bennett will do the tap out. He gets it over the back. It's Craig Smith of Richmond who takes it. Hand pass taken by Campbell. Campbell tried to tap the ball back. Same thing now as Craig Smith comes over the top of Obst. Kicked off the ground by Ricky Jackson. Straight out now, and it's Turner of Richmond who takes it. Gives a hand pass on to Justin Pickering. Another hand pass to Matthew Knights. Knights over the top finds Underwood. Richmond going forward as Underwood puts the ball towards centre half forward. Keays out in front. Went one-handed when he should have put 2. It's push in the back should go to Brett Lovett, and Lovett of Melbourne will take the free kick. Melbourne steadying just for the moment as Keays gave away a free kick. Went
should always
one-handed.
be in the stateside, Bobby.
Pardon, mate?
He should always be in the number 1 stateside. He's a champion.
Lovett puts the ball wide, and we'll have him, and it's taken by Grinter. Grinter gets it on now to Glenn Lovett. A hand pass over the top to Earl Spalding. Slips over just as he was going. Pops one too high, and well, Andrew Underwood shaping up and saying, you know, come to me, sports. And there's a few being thrown out there as we find Spalding putting the ball forward, off hands. Ooh. Gary Lyon should have got the free kick. Called play on by the umpire, and Richmond get it out of the danger zone. Over the boundary line it goes. So a throw-in to take place about 55 metres out from the Melbourne goal.
It's at the 7-minute and 50-second mark of the second quarter. The Demons lead by 7 points, 4-4, 28 to 3-3, 21 out. Beautiful tap out the back by Gary Lyon to Lovell. Lovell a long hand pass to Jimmy Steins, who winds up from the centre square line and kicks long to full forward. Oh, and Bannock running back with the flight of the ball takes a beautiful mark. Judging it to a nicety. Not a good kick by Steins, though. It was a floating high punt kick, whereas I thought Bennett did make it an attempt to lead, Robbie. But Steins went for the long bomb. The kick in, back into play by Bannock to half-back. Dawson gets his hands on the ball. Couldn't hold it. Kicked off the ground by Free of Richmond up towards the wing. Here's my boy Brett Lovett in front again. Gets his hands on it. Breaks out of a tackle from Cloak. Does it beautifully. Left foot kick to half forward. Obst up high. Couldn't hold the mark. Glenn Lovett gets it. Handball to Big Steins. He's well tackled. Taken away from him by Stephen Ryan, who's playing pretty well. Has a bounce. Breaks out of a tackle. Still gets... Now he takes too long. Puts the ball on the ground. The boundary umpire said it's out of bounds. Terrific tackle by Gary Lyon as Ryan got round 2 but couldn't get round the Melbourne skipper. Oh, it's a terrific game of footy at the moment. Very willing. You're hearing it live and exclusive on 3AK. Down in front of the pack to the Melbourne skipper Lyon, who kicks to half forward, and a fine mark by Brian Lees of Richmond. Judging it well over Darren Cuthbertson. The kick by Lees high. Bit of a brick wall across that half back line. It's punched away by Schwarz, knocked on by Justin Pickering, but he puts it out of bounds. And Richmond not kicking as far as you'd think, Robbie, with the wind coming across to this member's side. And Melbourne were the same in the first quarter, but the big scoreboard flag suggests that she's blowing a gale down to the scoreboard end. And Melbourne lead 4-4, 28 to Richmond, 3-3, 21. 9.5 minutes. Second quarter on the Sports Power scoreboard.
Steins wins the tap out, but it's a free kick to Tony Free of Richmond. Caught one too high, and Free will take the ball. places it past centre wing, down towards half forward. Brendon Gale's up high, almost a one-hander, but missed it. It comes out to Stephen Clark of Melbourne. Clark gives a wide hand pass, and Gwinter accepts it, puts it back towards half forward. Punched on by Schwarz, but a free kick has been found, and we'll come back, and Richmond will put the ball forward again as Craig Smith gets the free kick. No, I think he's being told it's Stephen Ryan's free kick. So, umpire telling young Schwarz that he gave away the free kick, and so Stephen Ryan now will take the free kick for Richmond. Ryan goes short across in towards the centre, straight onto the chest of David Cloak. A nice pass from Stephen Ryan, and went to run on, but then stopped as he saw it was being covered. So David Cloak goes long to centre half forward, and a lovely mark to Terry Keays. Keays has been very quiet so far. Brett Lovett has had the better of him, but that time Terry Keays has taken a nice mark, 40 metres out from goal. Keays should have no trouble with the distance, Robbie.
No, he shouldn't have any trouble. He's a reasonable kick, so 45 metres out, he'll kick well within the 50-metre line. The breeze is probably a fraction across his body, blowing to the right-hand side, so it'll just be a matter of how he judges that.
7 points the lead to Melbourne as Terry Keays lines up for Richmond. Nice looking kick off the boot. The goal umpire doesn't move. He just looks directly over his head and signals a great goal to Terry Keays, and it's 1 point the lead to Melbourne. Richmond with that goal moving to 4-3-27. Melbourne 4-4-28. Brooks 3AK scoreboard.
And Tommy Lahiff, well, she's a very, very keen contest here at the MCG.
Yes, there's plenty of fire in the game, and it'll take a while before it goes out, I think, Smoke. Both sides are giving it everything, but Richmond's little players are causing Melbourne a little bit of trouble.
Well, it's a point the difference at the MCG on the Unibig scoreboard on 3AK football. Melbourne 4-4-28, Richmond 4-3-27. 11 and a half minutes gone in this second quarter. Remembering, Bobby, the boys will be listening to our commentary. They'll be on the tape for sure. Todd Viney kicks the ball on the volley in towards the 50-metre arc at centre half forward. It's kicked off the ground the wrong way by Lees. In goes Cuthbertson off the ground. Goal to Melbourne, kicked by Darren Cuthbertson. Well, the ball was bounced and it was kicked off the ground 3 times. Todd Viney on the volley, a terrific kick well inside 50. Brian Lees of Richmond, who kicked it the wrong way, it slewed across the face of goal, and Darren Cuthbertson got there first and also came in with a kick off the ground and put it through. So the quick reply for the Demons, and they're 5-4-34. 7 points up on Richmond, 4-3-27 on the Brooks scoreboard on 3AK football.
Yeah, we saw a lot of it on the weekend with the real wet conditions, but today not so much because it's a pretty dry ground. But Cuthbertson judged it well and watched it on his foot just the same.
Back to a 7-point advantage in favour of Melbourne. Steins wins a tap out, taken by 3, dispossessed, and he's still being held onto by Andy Lovell. So Tony Free, although Melbourne put the ball forward by Jimmy Steins, Tony Free of Richmond will take the free kick in the centre of the ground.
Delay is you back, Ray. Let's get a score check. Simon Beasley Moorabbin for the Herald Sun.
Yeah, proceedings underway here. St Kilda 5 goals, 2-32 to North Melbourne, 4-6-30.
Penny Welch the ball wide.
Yes, Smoke. Bairstow single-handedly brought Geelong back into this game. Geelong 6-5-41, leading Hawthorn 5-3-33.
And Justin Pickering of Richmond picks the ball up. Keays up high over the top, but can't hold the mark. Through comes Dawson. Could be a free kick to the Richmond. No. Call play on by the umpire. Rowe picks the ball up from Melbourne. Hooks it wide down towards the half-back flank. Picked up by Cloak, though, of Richmond. He was first there. Cloak gets around a couple of opponents, and a beautiful pass from the big fellow straight onto the chest of Craig Lambert. David Cloak having a fine season for Richmond, and today no exception. And that time a lovely pass by David Cloak finds Craig Lambert, who has kicked 2 goals in the first quarter. And it's Richmond 4-3-27, Melbourne 5-4-34 as Craig Lambert hooks it. It's a shocker by Craig Lambert, and in fact has put it out of bounds on the full. So Lambert will not be happy at all with that kick for goal by himself, and Craig Lambert out of bounds on the full. 7 points the lead to Melbourne. Sports Power 3AK scoreboard as Gwinter brings the ball back into play, and a fine mark taken down there by Glenn Lovett. He was knocked over by David Cloak just as he took it, and a good mark to Glenn Lovett. Lovett puts the ball towards centre wing. In front, Barry Young. He and Craig Smith both up. Punch it away. Taken by Lovell of Melbourne. A quick hand pass to Obst. Obst back towards centre wing. First there is Stephen Ryan of Richmond. Doesn't try and keep it in play. Went towards the boundary line, but it went straight to Gary Lyon. Lyon a hand pass to Schwarz. His goes straight to the opposition, and Barry Young taken by Schwarz. One way then the other. He's tackled, dispossessed, and the free kick will go to Campbell of Richmond. Wayne Campbell, the youngster, on the wing. And Campbell has the ball in that position on centre wing. He goes to half forward. Spalding up high. Good effort to take the mark. Could have been free kick. Lovell's on bottom of the pack. Can't get the ball clear. And umpire Sheehan says, give it to me. I'll bounce it at half forward flank for Richmond. They trail by 7 points. Richmond 27, Melbourne 34. 15 minutes almost into the second quarter. Brooks 3AK scoreboard. Bounce to be taken at half forward for Richmond. Gale against Jimmy Steins. Steins takes it. Try to get the hand pass in. It's bundled up. And scrambly football there, but the umpire saying that Richmond will get the free kick as Lovell was over the top of the ball. And it's Lambert gets the lead down there in the forward pocket from Stockdale. Stockdale's bundled over the boundary line with the ball, and it's on behind play.
The umpire in charge, Bobby, was looking at the incident behind play and not looking anywhere near where the ball was. So I can't believe it. It's out of bounds. It's raining at the MCG and the emergency umpire's out again. Watch the ball, umpire. And there'll be a free kick for throwing the ball away to Melbourne. Melbourne's free in the back pocket to be taken by Spalding. I couldn't believe it. Brian Sheehan turned away from where the ball was and looked at the players having a fight. The ball kicked back towards the wing. Punched down in front of the pack to Lambert. A quick handball to Naish. Naish on to Justin Pickering, who kicks from 50 metres. A good long kick deep into the attacking zone. And from hand it spills through forward behind. And we'll give that one to Justin Pickering. Richmond go to 4 goals for a 28. They're a goal down on Melbourne, 5-4-34 on the Sports Power scoreboard on 3AK football. 16 minutes gone in this second term, and the kick in is good by Road out to Howat, who marks it half back on the outer side. Most of the play on the members' side today. That's the side to which the Breeders coming in. A fine mark taken for Richmond over there by Underwood. Over Lovell, he plays on quickly. Drives it deep inside 50. Good play by Grinter to get his fist to the ball, and he recovers well. Good crumbing by Rodney Grinter. He kicks it wide to half back on the outer side. The bounce favours okay for Howat. Shepherded for by Tingay. Howat a foot pass up towards the wing, but it's misdirected. It goes straight to Big Cloak, whose hand pass comes over the top to Lambert. Lambert, it's one too many. Bit slippery for fancy football, but it comes back to him after a bit of a fumble by Tingay. Shepherding for him is Underwood. Lambert tries to get it out now. The Melbourne players say it's holding the ball, but it's not, because Underwood's able to pick it up and kick it into the forward pocket. Stockdale is there. Steins comes in and makes sure the ball goes out of bounds. Melbourne lead by 6 points on the Unibic scoreboard. 17 minutes gone, second quarter. Deep in the forward pocket for the Tigers at the scoreboard end. Gale goes up, but Steins gets the tap. The ball is tapped down. Through comes Road, runs into his own man, but he cleverly gets the handball away to Spalding, who also gets it on the Grinter. He's had one bounce, he has two as he comes round the member's side. Has a third, it runs away from him. He has a left foot kick back to the centre. Well placed, marked by Dyson at Melbourne. Spalding's run up the ground, but Dyson runs inside towards the centre and plays on with a long kick down to centre half forward, but Cloak's dropped back there to punch the ball away from Bennett. Kicked off the ground for Richmond by Barry Young. He goes after it again, pushes it out towards the boundary line, still pushing it towards the boundary line, and he pushes it over. Good work by Barry Young. Richmond at 4-4 and Melbourne 5-4 as we go around the grounds for the Herald Sun. Simon Beasley at Moorabbin.
Yeah, 10-minute mark, and Tony Lockett's just marked the ball. St Kilda leading 5-2-32 by 2 points only. North Melbourne 4-6-30.
Peter Welsh.
Geelong 7-5-47, 1 goal ahead of Hawthorn to a 6-5-41.
And at the boundary throw in, Gary Lyon took the front position. The boundary umpire throwing it in very short from this member's side and got pushed out by Cloak, so Gary Lyon gets the free kick.
The line will kick from about 70 metres out, goes towards centre half forward. It's dropping short. Bennett was in front. It's punched away, taken by Ricky Jackson, snapped towards goal, and he is offline, so 1 point only the result.
He was paying a free kick there, Bobby, for a high tackle, well within scoring range, and then he kept him playing on. Unbelievable. Fair dinkum.
Turner of Richmond, a lovely kick in from full back, and Brian Lees has taken the mark 60 metres out from goal. That's the defensive goal. Lees the defender for the Tigers. Plays on and comes across the ground. The short kick in towards the centre, and Lambert has taken the mark. Obst comes in as we see Lovell come off from Melbourne. Beveridge on, and Richmond play on with out towards Barry Young. Young in short, goes towards Underwood. Kicked off the ground by Dyson. Across the ground it comes. No mark taken. Dyson goes on again, gets his own kick. Comes back again, steadies. The left foot kick from Dyson this time, straight towards centre half forward. Obst is up, couldn't take the mark. Punched away by the Tigers. First on the scene is Cuthbertson. Picks it up, hand pass towards Schwarz. It bounces the right way for Schwarz. He gives another hand pass. Bennett beautifully taps it on. Great play by Bennett. He gives it to Ricky Jackson, but it's a poor kick by Ricky Jackson, and Jackson has brought up his third minor score. 3 points to Ricky Jackson. Melbourne moved to 5-6, 36. 8-point leaders over Richmond, 4-4, 24. Great play by Darren Bennett, but it's only a minor score as it's kicked back into play by big Scott Turner. It was a lovely kick of the football, missed by Tony Free, but swooping on the ball is Lambert. The hand pass on to Knights. There's Nichols, I should say. Nichols, one bounce, then hooks the ball towards centre half forward. Big pack of players up, punched away by Howat, taken by Steins. The hand pass to Glenn Lovett. Lovett from the centre of the ground, straight down towards centre half forward. Up high was Craig Smith. He's taken the mark, punched away late, and Craig Smith has marked at centre half back.
Smith in the centre half back position for the Tigers. Looks for the lead from Gale. The kick will fall a bit short. Gale gets his hands on it but couldn't hold the mark. Grinter does well, but his little tap out is blocked. It's kicked off the ground by Free of Richmond up towards half forward. Brett Lovett tries to kick it off the ground but overruns the ball. In goes Keays. Falls over. Brett Lovett there and he knocks the ball out of bounds. He did it beautifully. And there'll be a throw in at right half forward for the Tigers down in front of the cricket dressing rooms in the Ponsford stand. 20 and a half minutes gone, second quarter on the Univic scoreboard. Melbourne in front by 8 points, 5-6, 36 to Richmond, 4 goals, 4-28. Boundary umpire Brown puts it back into play. Steins gets the tap down. No one can break clear. It's shovelled out to Lambert by Keays. Handball from Lambert. Back, Underwood got one high. And he's paid the advantage rule again. The umpire and Tony Free playing on as a shot at goal and puts it through for a behind.
Smokey, it's up to the players really not to play on. If they think their players are in a better position what they are, they hold up and give it back to them. Simple as that.
Surely though, if Ricky Jackson was aware he's going to get a free kick, he kept running. It was a late whistle. He would have taken that set shot, wouldn't he, from 35 metres?
He thought he would have got the goal.
Beautiful mark by Brendan Gale coming across to take that kick off. Lovely mark to Gale. And so a 50-metre penalty. I missed what it was for, Robbie, and I think Andrew Obst ran across between Gale and his opponent, because I see Andrew Underwood giving the silly sign to Andrew Obst. So the 50-metre penalty brings Gale down to only 15 metres out from goal.
Yes, silly if it was for that, and Stretch warming up on the interchange bench.
So straight through the centre goes Brendan Gale. Lovely kick, and he brings up his first goal to move Richmond to within 1 point. Melbourne 5-6, 36. That goal by Gale of Richmond, moving them to 5-5, 35. 1 point the lead to Melbourne on the Brooks 3AK scoreboard as Tingay comes off, Stretch on.
Let's go around the grounds for the Herald Sun. Simon Beasley.
Damien Keski running into an open goal, and he's missed at the 12-minute mark. St Kilda leading 6 goals, 3, 39 to North Melbourne 4-7, 31.
Peter Welsh.
Hawthorn 7-7, 49, leading Geelong 7-6, 48.
Can't get much closer up there, Woosher. You've got a 1 point game, so have we. It's exciting football on this Queen's birthday holiday as umpire Fallett bounces the ball. Cloak knocks it on. Gale tries to knock it on, but it's smothered by Sporting, but it's picked up beautifully by Naish. The hand pass to Nichols from 40 metres. He fires at goal, and he has just missed a behind kick by Trent Nichols of Richmond to level the scores here at the MCG. A beautiful passage of play by the Tigers, but the kick from Nichols inaccurate. 5 goals, 6, 36 points apiece on the Sports Power scoreboard as Howat kicks in off the left boot for Melbourne to half back on the members' side. Lambert puts his body in first, does it beautifully. Handball away to Pickering. Pickering's long handball to Underwood, who runs into Grinter as he gets boot the ball. It goes down to the forward pocket, and it's gone over the line and out of bounds. A terrific bump by Rodney Grinter. Fair as you like, and what footy's all about. That's, of course, Justin Pickering, because Michael Pickering, Waitman and Honeybun all not taking their places today on the Richmond side.
I don't think Tony Free agree with your comment. He's just had a few words with the one Rodney Grinter, as Tony Free now takes it and snaps towards goal, but he's offline, so far offline that it's out of bounds on the full. And so we'll find a Melbourne free kick to be taken by Howat. With no one on the mark, he's able to run and gain 20 to 25 metres and then drive it long towards centre wing. Brendan Gale's up high to take a lovely mark. Starting to look like a good player, Brendan Gale, Robbie.
Yes, he started to hold his marks earlier on the season. He just couldn't take one of them.
So Brendan Gale towards centre half forward. Up high was Stockdale. Couldn't take the mark. Scrambly football. Tapped away by Rode. Picked up by Glenn Lovett. Lovett of Melbourne puts it down towards half forward. From behind, Stephen Ryan went to punch the ball away, but he recovers beautifully. Comes across the ground. Straight across the ground towards centre half back. Mark taken by Craig Smith. Plays on immediately. Goes towards centre half forward. Hogg out in front. Has taken the mark. But he's over 60 metres out from goal. And Jeff Hogg, too far out to score, goes for the lead down towards in the forward pocket. Stockdale can't take the mark. It's punched away. Picked up by Keays. Loses it. Big Steins takes it. And Scrambly Football sees the umpire come in and said, give it to me. I'll throw the ball up around about 30 metres out from the Richmond goal. Richmond 36, Melbourne 36. Both sides on 5 goals, 6. We're approaching time on in this second term. Steins wins the tap out, taken by Viney. A quick hand pass. Howat under a lot of pressure. He got the hand pass out to Brett Lovett, who hooks it wide. But it's all Richmond, and Justin Pickering has taken the mark 60 metres out from goal. Justin Pickering of Richmond. Brother Michael dropping out of the selected side today, along with Dale Waitman and David Honeybun. So all 3 emergencies playing for Richmond. Justin Pickering towards the goal square. At the back, it's punched off the hands of the pack, and a rush through for a 1 point to Richmond. So that rush point takes Richmond to a 1 point lead. 5-7-37, Melbourne 5-6-36. Brooks 3AK scoreboard.
Grinter kicks in and Steins at half back couldn't hold the mark, but picking the crumbs up well for Melbourne was Todd Viney, but he's well tackled. The ball spills. It's on the wing on the member side. Kicked on the volley by Bennett across towards the boundary line. Showing plenty of places. Glenn Lovett. In goes Ryan of Richmond. His hand pass along the ground goes towards Campbell, and it's out of bounds.
And I notice Jimmy Steins has got the gloves on.
Must be pretty cold and stuffy there. Yes, indeed. Schwarz contesting against Cloak. Front position Cloak. Beautiful tap away to Underwood, who's enjoying the conditions. Long kick down the ground towards centre half forward. Misunderstanding between Clark and Brett Lovett. The ball finishes with Terry Keays. A snap round the corner just offline. Clark was running back. Brett Lovett was running out straight at the ball. It should have been his mark. Clark knocked it away from him and gave Keays the opportunity, and it was a pretty good snap that was just offline. So the Tigers take a 2 point lead 26 minutes into the second quarter on the Sports Power scoreboard. 5-8 to 5-6, 38 to 36. Short kick Grinter. Marked by Howat. He's invited to play on, so he handballs back to Grinter. Standing start back in towards the centre, looking for Dyson. Well spoilt by Gale, who's down. Picked up by Spalding. Shocking handball meant for Jackson. Gale is hurt. Picked up by Campbell. Forced the handball away. Good shepherding. Dyson allows Glenn Lovett to pick the ball up. Gale still limping. Superb smother off the beat though by Underwood. Rebounds to Barry Young. Terrific play. Underwood short pass to Lambert. No one within 30 metres of him. Lambert marks. Hogg's in the forward pocket all on his own. The foot pass comes out there and Hogg's marked, but he's wide near the boundary line. They're getting excited. The Tigers, they're going everywhere now. They'll give it back to Lambert, but he's invited to play on and he kicks it behind. And Gale is coming off with what looks like an injured left knee. Tragedy for the Tigers.
Ankle, I think,
Ankle.
smoking.
Behind kick by Jeffrey Hogg, his third. And the Tigers lead by 3 points, 5-9-39 at the 27 mark at the 5-6-36. Around the grounds for the Herald Sun, Simon Beasley.
20-minute mark, St Kilda leading 7-3-45 to North Melbourne 4-8-32.
And your favourite footballer's just come on, Andy Goodwin, so the Tigers will be right, Simon, as we go to Peter Welsh.
2 point lead to Hawthorn. Hawthorn 7-9-51, Geelong 7-7-49 at the 29-minute mark.
All players trying to kick the ball off the ground, and eventually it's Gary Lyon who picks it up, places it back towards half forward. Mark missed by Stephen Ryan. It's picked up by Beveridge of Melbourne. Hooked towards centre half forward. Bennett taps the ball on, but it's too wide for Todd Viney, and Turner recovers quick. Kicks it off the ground for Richmond. Into the centre it goes. Taken by Stretch. Stretch, a little short pass out wide. Melbourne going forward as the mark's taken by Glenn Lovett, who plays on. Goes short. Too wide though for Andrew Obst. Through comes David Cloak. Forces the ball forward. Cuthbertson of Melbourne first there. Taps it back towards Bennett. Bennett picks it up. He's tackled. Hooks it across towards centre half forward. Obst is back into the game for Melbourne. Hellwood not in possession, but called play on by the umpire. No free kick given, and Richmond go forward. Out towards centre wing. Melbourne player in Stretch slips over. Picked up by Knights of Richmond. Hand passes over the top. Goes after it again. Tapped out by Stretch. Richmond trying to get the ball clear through Knights now, who picks it up. Good piece of shepherding by Lees. Hand pass to Nichols. Wild kick at the ball that time, but Lees eventually able to tap the ball forward again, and it's eventually picked up by Melbourne's Clark. Gets the ball back. Picked up that time by Howat, who can't get the ball clear, and it's Richmond now. Knights taps the ball on, in towards the centre. Underwood comes through, kicks it off the ground, down towards centre half forward. Hogg takes it, goes across the ground. He was looking for the player in Goodwin. Goodwin picks the ball up, tackled by Spalding. Quickly dispossessed. Spalding comes back. Dives over the top of Hogg. Hogg will get the free kick. And so Richmond in the van as Jeff Hogg comes out with the free kick. Straight across the ground he goes to Underwood. Underwood is marked near the point of the centre square. Goes long and direct down towards goals. It's a beautiful kick from Underwood. A magnificent kick from 65 metres out. And he's put it through for a great goal. Andrew Underwood kicked his first to move Richmond to 6-9, 45. Melbourne 5-6, 36. A magnificent goal. Andrew Underwood to take the Tigers to a 9-point lead.
Well, I thought Hogg did the wrong thing by going across in the middle of the ground. I felt that he was closer than where he actually kicked Underwood, but the fact was that Underwood was clear and could run in a little bit further and unleashed a magnificent kick, although the breeze behind him really had to connect properly to get it where it went.
And Naish comes on for Stockdale as the siren sounds for half-time at the MCG in the 3AK match of the day. And the half-time score on the Brooks scoreboard. Richmond, the Tigers in front by 9 points, 6 goals, 9:45. The Demons, 5 goals, 6:36 in a fantastic game before a very enthusiastic crowd. Melbourne led by a point at quarter time, and the Tigers lead by 9 points at half-time. 6 goals, 9 to 5-6. They outscored Melbourne by 3-7 to 2 goals, 3 in that quarter. For Richmond, Craig Lambert has kicked 2 goals, and single goal scorers have been Terry Keays, Andrew Underwood with that long bomb on the half-time siren, Brendon Gale, who left the ground in the second quarter just before half-time, and Matthew Knights. And for Melbourne, 2 goals to Darren Bennett, singles to Andrew Obst, David Schwarz and Darren Cuthbertson. The MCG half-time score, Richmond 6 goals, 9:45, Melbourne 5-6, 36. It's the Tigers by 9 points. As we go around the grounds for the Herald Sun, Simon Beasley at Moorabbin.
We're at the 22-minute mark. There's no change. St Kilda 7-3, 45, leading North Melbourne 4-8, 32.
Pretty tight at Moorabbin and also tight at Princes Park, where Peter Welsh should give us a half-time score.
Yes, Smoke, half-time. 5-point lead to Geelong. Geelong 8-8, 56, leading Hawthorn 7-9, 51. Goal kickers, I'll give you for Geelong first, 3 to Bairstow, 3 to Brownless, with singles to Stone and Simpson, Stoneham and Simpson. For Hawthorn, 5 to Burton, 1 to Platten and 1 to Anderson.
Great game there. 5 points in it at Princes Park, 9 points in it here at the MCG. Richmond 6-9, Melbourne 5-6. It's 45 to 36. And at Princes Park, Geelong 8-8, 56, Hawthorn 7-9, 51. And the Saints in front at Moorabbin in a very tight game as well. Okay, let's take a break and be back with Robbie's summary on 3AK football.
Pingo, and he's put it through for another one. How the heck did he get that?
And that's another wonder Sports Power. They've done it again. There are 100 stores Australia-wide backing up every move Sports Power makes. They can't do wrong. Sensational. That's power for you. Prices are being skillfully crunched in every position. Football, cricket, golf, netball, basketball, hockey, running, tennis. Sports Power has them licked with footwear, clothing and fitness equipment too. It's all over bar the shouting. Sports Power has annihilated the opposition. They're the champs.
Football's expert commentary team, 1503 3AK.
Very lively encounter here at the MCG. Very fiery encounter. I think there will be several reports at the end of the day. And at half-time, the Tigers find themselves with a 9-point lead. 6 goals, 9, a total of 45 points to Melbourne. 5 goals, 6:36. Former Melbourne champion and skipper Robbie Flower to sum up on that opening half.
Yes, well, it was a fiery opening in the first half, and Richmond came out with all guns firing, really trying to, I think, upset the Melbourne lineup, and Melbourne went just as hard back again. It really started off with a skipper in Gary Lyons lining up on Barry Young, and Barry Young, in a niggling aspect at the start of the game, and first opportunity Gary Lyons took and went at him and put him down. After that, it was on for Young and Old. Certainly there was no love lost between any of the players out there, as everyone was willing to show a sign of strength, even more so today in
For Richmond, Goodwin and Stockdale. For Melbourne, it's Beveridge and Schwarz.
There's the centre bounce. Steins gets the first tap, but it goes to Lambert. It goes to Underwood. Underwood kicks the ball high towards half forward. Punched away by Clark, but here's Justin Pickering picking up and snapping at goal. Missed. Behind by Justin Pickering at the start of the third quarter. 20 seconds in. A quick kick at goal. And he's offline, but it's a 10-point lead, 6-10-46.
Beveridge is out in the ground, Smokey, so I'm not quite sure who that other player is.
Thank you very much indeed, Robbie Flower, for picking that one up for us. As Todd Viney marks the kick in, 6-10-5-6. Short to Cuthbertson, who marks. Cuthbertson between wing and half-back in towards the centre. Oh, Gary Lyon and Howat in front takes the mark. Hand pass away quickly to Obst. Obst a long kick down towards Bennett, punched away. Crumbing well as Bannock for Richmond. He runs across and kicks wide, almost right across the ground. It's going to bounce just inside the line as Jimmy Steins and Campbell come in. And the borders across the line and over. Is it Andy Lovell out there? It's Andy Lovell on the interchange bench, I think, Bobby, for the start of the third quarter. Behind the Richmond since half-time. They've gone to 6-10, leading Melbourne 5-6 down towards Craig Smith of Richmond from the throw-in. Smith kicks the ball back towards the wing, and it's marked by Jimmy Steins, who dropped back. It's going to be a free kick to Richmond for shepherding by Rodney Grinter. Now, fair dinkum, boys, this is getting out of hand. There was no way Steins wasn't going to mark that. And Justin Pickering, who's about half his size, has got a free kick because the umpire reckoned that Grinter was shepherding him. Goodness me.
Yes, I don't like that decision, but it's punched away that time by the Tigers. The road was first to the scene with Campbell. And so we find the ball going over the boundary line. A throwing to take place midway between centre wing and half forward flank for Richmond, outer side of the ground. Richmond holding a 10-point lead, 46-36. They've been the only side to score in this quarter with 1 point going on the board. Steins wins a tap out. It goes straight through the legs of Rodney Grinter, and it's Richmond through Knights who picks the ball up, gets a long hand pass, kicked off the ground. The Tigers going forward as we see Beveridge come in, tap the ball over the boundary line. That's Beveridge of Melbourne. So a throw-in to take place on centre wing, outer side of the ground. 6-10-46 Richmond, Melbourne 5-6-36. Melbourne trailing by 10 points. They made a number of changes. Tingay going to the half-forward line with Schwarz coming onto the bench and Howat to centre half-forward. Tap out taken by Steins, kicked by Craig Smith, smothered off the boot. Over the boundary line it goes. So a throw-in to take place in almost an identical position to the previous throw-in. So it's on centre wing, outer side of the ground. Steins coming in to ruck there against Cloak. Well, over the top comes Howat, punches the ball forward. Beveridge tries to keep the ball in play, but that's worth almost a kick as it runs about 30 metres further around the boundary line. And a big punch by John Howat. So we'll find a throw-in to take place at half-forward flank this time for Melbourne. Howat coming down to actually do the ruck work this time against David Cloak. And Cloak wins the tap out this time. And clean bowls a Melbourne player in Cuthbertson. Richmond going forward as we throw the ball up towards half forward, but Spalding comes across the back of the pack and takes a timely mark across the half back line for Melbourne. Earl Spalding called play on by the umpire, and so he drives the ball along towards centre wing at the back of the pack. Able to take it was Beveridge. Melbourne kicking the ball off the ground. Viney comes down. It's picked up by Tingay. Tingay tried to get the hand pass in, now does so out towards Lyon. Lyon's kick off the side of the boot as he was pushed. He was about to kick the ball, and a great effort to take the mark that time by Stephen Ryan. And it's Richmond who see the ball over the boundary line on the full. And taking the ball down there, it looked like Bannock may have taken it and went to kick the ball. Went off the side of the boot and out of bounds on the full. So it'll be Melbourne's free kick.
And it went over the fence, so they're going to have to wait for another ball to come out.
I wondered what the delay was down there, Robbie. They've got men stationed at the other end of the ground, but there's nobody down there. And as the ball now, a new ball comes out, and the kick will be taken by Stephen Tingay of Melbourne. Tingay will kick from just outside 50 metres. It'll be a very good kick if he can put this one through, but he'll have the aid of the breeze from that position. Won't quite make the distance. It's in towards the square. Big Bennett was up high, can't take the mark. Obst came in, couldn't get the ball clear, and the umpire saying he had no chance of getting the ball out. So a bounce will take place 10 metres out from the Melbourne goal. They trail by 10 points. 36 Melbourne, 46 Richmond. Kodak camera and battery scoreboard. Cloak sees the ball bounce away from him, and Howat takes the tap out, but the Tigers on top in defence at the moment. The hand pass comes out to Stephen Ryan. His kick out towards the half-back flank. The hand pass coming from Craig Lambert, and Ryan, although limping at the moment, puts the ball over the boundary line, and a throw-in to take place 55 metres out from the Melbourne goal.
Boundary umpire Barr puts the ball back into play. Steins the front position over Cloak, gets the tap down. No one can break clear now. It's picked up for Melbourne by Obst. He gets a short distance kicking towards half forward. Todd Viney leading in the race for the ball. Gets a bit of a shove in the back. Gets a real fair dinkum push in the back, and he's got the free kick right on the 50-metre line. Todd Viney of Melbourne. No worries about Viney putting his body in. Passes to the forward pocket, and Ricky Jackson. And Jackson has marked about 40 metres out from goal. Coming in from the right angle because the breeze is coming in strongly from about east-southeast, Simon Beasley, I would suggest. But the MCG blowing strongly towards the big scoreboard end. And with no southern stand, it's certainly having an effect on play, and perhaps breeze coming in helping dry the ground. The kick by Jackson. Well, if it's not a goal, it's marked right on the line for Melbourne by Howat. And he turns around and plays on, kicks a goal. So it wasn't a goal kicked by Jackson, but it was a goal kicked by Howat. Good mark by John Howat. Melbourne get the first goal of the third quarter. Kodak, camera and battery scoreboard. Richmond 6-10-46. 4 points up on the Demons, 6-6-42, 6 minutes gone, third term.
Yes, Johnny Howat took a very strong mark, and for mine, I'm very reluctant for players to play them like that. Dangerous, always a chance it's going to get smothered or touch. Go back and have your shot and make no mistake.
Let's go around the ground. Let's go around the grounds for the Herald Sun and to Peter Welsh at Princes Park, where they would have started.
Yes, that's Geelong to 11-point lead. Smokey, Geelong 9-9-63, leading Hawthorn 7-10-52.
A change of ball, as the umpire possibly indicated. It may have been a little flat, and so the new ball comes out, and we'll see Melbourne trailing by 4 points, 6-6 to 6-10. Richmond holding a 4-point lead. Kodak, camera and battery scoreboard. Cloak up high, and he went straight into Jimmy Steins on that occasion, so gives away a free kick, and Jimmy Steins will take it right in the centre of the ground. Cloak on the mark is actually standing in the centre circle, and Jimmy Steins favouring the drop punt, down towards centre half forward. No mark taken at the back, it's Bennett. A hand pass across to Gary Lyon. His kick, a short one. Beveridge picks the ball up, snaps towards goal, but he's hooked it too far, and it bounces just inside the boundary line to go over in the forward pocket. So a throw-in to take place. Forward pocket for Melbourne, with Melbourne trailing by 4 points. 7.5 minutes into the third term. Kodak, camera and battery scoreboard. A 4-point lead to Richmond after being 9 points up at half-time. Bennett up high. A tap out across the back. Picked up by Stephen Ryan. A long hand pass to get himself out of the immediate danger zone. Picked up by Tingay. A hand pass out. Tapped on by Cuthbertson to Viney. Viney goes backwards up the ground, but it's straight onto the chest of Kevin Dyson, who has marked 55 metres out from goal. Dyson looked a little unsure which way to go, and now he goes for the long bomb down towards the goal square. Big pack of players up. The Richmond defence punched the ball away. Taken by Lambert. Dummies a hand pass. Slips over, and then got the hand pass out to Bennett. Bennett of Richmond back towards the centre wing, but straight to the opposition, and Stephen Stretch's mark. Stretch gets a lead from Gary Lyon, but ignores that because he saw Todd Viney out in the centre half forward position. Couldn't take the mark. Cloak forced the ball forward. Picked up by Dyson. A quick hand pass to Howat. Howat tried to hand pass out. Barry Young went to kick the ball off the ground. Now we find Stephen Ryan kicking the ball off the ground. Very scrambly football at the moment as players dive in from both sides. And now the umpire has decided, give it to me. I will throw the ball up 40 metres out from the Melbourne goal.
8.5 minutes gone, third quarter. The Kodak camera and battery scoreboard. Richmond 6-10-46, 4 points up on Melbourne, 6-6-42, boundary goal umpire, boundary umpire, field umpire, Fallett bounces the ball. Here's Cuthbertson and Campbell going after it. Campbell of Richmond kicks the ball off the ground. Looks like Cuthbertson's playing out there on the wing now, and the ball is across the line and out of bounds for a throw-in. Simon Beasley, have they resumed it? And Moorabbin for the Herald Sun.
Yes, we have, Smokey, and North have opened up with a goal. They're 5 goals, 10-40, trailing St Kilda 8-3-51.
Boundary umpire Brown puts it back into play. Steins gets a beautiful tap down to Dyson, whose high kick floats in towards half forward. The bounce eludes Bennett. In there is Turner. In goes Beveridge for Melbourne. The ball tapped out the back of the packet. Comes out to Glenn Lovett, who gives a left foot kick at the open goal, and it bounces through for a goal. Well, that's the fortune for the Demons. Glenn Lovett. Ball well tapped out by little Beveridge, and Glenn Lovett had a quick left foot snap, and there was no one between about 30 metres out from goal and the goal line, and the Demons are back in front here, 7-6-48. The Richmond 6-10-46 on the Kodak camera and battery scoreboard, almost 10 minutes third term, and the D's lead by 2 points. Peter Welch, Princes Park.
Geelong 9-9-63, leading Hawthorn 8-11-59.
And I think that was because Bennett was out contesting the ruck ball up there.
Steins wins the tap out from the centre. Missed by Tony Free, but giving good backup is Barry Young. Young of Richmond places the ball out towards Brendon Gale, who is moving pretty well, although he's got a bit of a limp up. Gale gathers the ball well at half-forward flank, swings it across towards centre-half forward, and although it's not quite across towards centre-half forward, it's marked 50 metres out from goal by Andrew Underwood. Now, Underwood kicked a 60-metre goal in that second term, but this time he's kicking into the breeze. How'll they go, Robbie?
From 50 metres, I think he'll struggle with the breeze almost in his face.
So Andrew Underwood, Melbourne leading by 2 points, 48-46. Kodak camera and battery scoreboard. Andrew Underwood will kick from about 52 metres. It's a nice looking kick, but won't quite make the accuracy. The distance is there. Terry Keays up high, but never looked like getting to it. No, it's a free kick the way of Melbourne, and big Jimmy Steins, who'd be a bit sore and sorry because when he got the tap out when Melbourne kicked the goal a few moments ago, he copped one to go on with, and another one in the back there. So it's Jim Steins of Melbourne, the Melbourne ruckman, to bring the ball back into play with that free kick. Steins puts the half back, punched away by the Tigers. Little Spalding dives forward. Good play by Spalding, but can't get the hand pass clear. Thrown away by Andrew Underwood, but missed by the umpire. Kicked off the ground by Melbourne, over the boundary line on the full. And so we'll find the free kick going the way of Richmond. Justin Pickering being remonstrated by a couple of Melbourne players.
So he should be, because he tackled the Melbourne player Clark, who kicked the ball off the ground high, Bobby, and the ball is kicked by Knights in towards full forward. There'll be a free kick to Richmond for hanging on again, or shepherding, whatever you like. Too much of this getting into the game. They're coming too technical. Greta and Free having a bit of a push and shove, and the emergency umpire's out there again. But the Melbourne players were pretty upset with the treatment dished out to Stephen Clark, as they had every reason to be. That's why they remonstrated with the Richmond player Pickering. And now the free kick is finished up with Brendon Gale. He's got the chance to put the Tigers back in front, which he does with a goal. But he's put it over the net. That's his second. And Richmond are back in front at the MCG in the 3AK match of the day on the Kodak camera and battery scoreboard. It's goal for goal. They're 7-10-52, 4 points up on Melbourne, 7-6-48. And Tommy Lahiff, she's pretty tight and tough out there.
Yes, it is. It's a very tough game. It's not a very, not a nice game to watch, but it's hard, and there's plenty of hard knocks given and taken, and the football hasn't been up to the standard we usually see with these two sides.
I think it's time we had the lights on here, Smokey. This free kick goes the way of Richmond, and David Cloak will take the kick. Melbourne must have had an extra man in that centre bounce. Glenn Lovett was the extra man in there. Cloak comes wide, taken by Nichols. Plays on. The right foot kick this time from Nichols. Down towards the forward pocket. And it's a great one-hander by Naish over Richmond. He's taken the mark in the forward pocket. He's about 25 metres out from goal, about a 45-degree angle. And lovely kick of the football, though. So I give Chris Naish every chance of putting this one through. Although, as Robbie Flower mentioned when the kick was coming forward by Andrew Underwood, he does have the breeze coming across him from that position. Naish of Richmond goes towards goal, and there's no doubt about that one. Chris Naish puts a beautiful kick straight through the middle, and Richmond move to 7 goals 10. No, it's 8 goals 10, 58, 10 points up on Melbourne, 7-6-48.
Yes, well, they've come back with a vengeance here in this third term after Melbourne really come back at them, but Richmond have steadied. And Naish is just another talented young small player that's on the ground for the Tigers, and this is where they're cutting up Melbourne at the moment with the numbers around the bottom of the packs and getting it out for these free-running players.
Tigers by 10 points, 14 minutes third term at the MCG. The ball bouncing in the centre. Grabbed for Melbourne by Beveridge. His high kick out of the centre towards half forward. Howat going after it with Stephen Ryan. Ryan gets his hand on the ball and knocks it across the line and out of bounds. The Tigers are playing inspired football. They're 8-10-58. Melbourne is 7-6-48. On the 3AK Kodak camera and the battery scoreboard. Boundary umpire Barr will put it back into play in front of the members' pavilion. Cloak against Gary Lyon, who gets the tap. Bit of finessing by Ricky Jackson, but he can't break clear. He's being hung onto. That's why. And Justin Pickering runs it across the line. Let's get a score check from the other matches for the Herald Sun. Simon Beasley.
2 quick goals to St Kilda, and they're 9-4-64 leading North 5-10-40.
Boundary umpire Barr puts it back into play. Line grabs it, gets a hand pass out to Jackson. Comes back towards Nichols. Nichols, a little kick along the ground towards Bennett. A beautiful hip and shoulder by Howat. Comes out towards Lambert. He's pushed off the ball. Howat goes in, gets it across towards Steins. Kicked out of his hands by Ryan. Kicked out of Viney's hands by Stephen Ryan. Up the Gale at half forward. Pushed by Greta. Good stuff. pushed him in the side. The ball goes out of bounds on the full. A free kick to Melbourne. As we go to Peter Welch.
Geelong by 9 points. Geelong 10-10-70, leading Hawthorn 8-13-61.
Now, Robbie Flower, I thought the boundary umpire adjudicates where the ball goes out of bounds on the full. Is that the case?
Yes, he usually does point to the spot.
It didn't on that occasion. The field umpire said that's where the free kick was. I think Melbourne lost about 30 metres, but it doesn't matter because Howat takes the mark for Melbourne just outside the centre. He kicks poorly across the ground in towards the centre square. Gathered though by Glenn Lovett. He has to double back and his hand pass comes across towards Brett Lovett. Coming down the ground. No, it wasn't Brett Lovett that time. It was Rode. The long kick by Rode down towards full forward, but there's Cloak at the back of the pack. Sweeping handball away to Turner, who sweeps it back to David Cloak. Cloak gets it out to Lambert, almost the umpire. Lambert tries to get round one, gets a low tackle, but breaks out of it. Long handball into the middle to Stephen Ryan, who's playing very well. Off the left boot, he kicks to half forward, looking for Naish. Punched away by Clark, who goes after it, gets a side bump from Gale and forces the ball out of bounds. At left half forward for the Tigers, between wing and half forward members' side. 16 minutes third term. Kodak, camera and battery scoreboard. Richmond 8-10-58, 10 points up on Melbourne, 7-6-48.
Brendan Gale gets a tap down, comes towards Justin Pickering, who taps the ball forward. Todd Viney picks it up from Melbourne. His hand pass to Dawson. He gets bundled out of the way, but eventually the hand pass comes out from Spalding to Stretch. Touches the ball on the ground. From centre wing, he places it towards centre half forward. At the back is Turner and takes a lovely mark for the Tigers. Turner then goes straight across the ground. The lead made position that time. A by up there, Campbell couldn't get to the ball. And eventually Richmond, Brian Lees is there also. It's Brian Lees and Campbell. Campbell taps the ball forward. Excellent play because he saw Matthew Knights. Knights gets around one player, steadies, but he's run too far, according to the umpire. Well, he must have only gone 11 metres. I would not have taken the ball off him that time, Robbie.
No, it didn't look as if he ran that far, and it was very unfortunate. Although he slipped when he kicked, and I don't think it went to a Richmond player when it ended up.
Tingay hand passes to Glenn Lovett, who puts a long kick down towards the forward pocket. It's run over the boundary line, so a throwing to take place in the forward pocket for Melbourne, who trail by 10 points, 48-58. Kodak, camera and battery scoreboard. As the throwing will take place 35 to 40 metres out from the Melbourne goal. Cloak's down there. Gary Lyon to do the ruck work for, and Howat comes right over the top. Punches the ball towards the goal, but Richmond get there first. Underwood's there, slides forward, top one too high, and Andrew Underwood will relieve the pressure temporarily for Richmond as he will take the free kick about 20 metres out from the Melbourne goal. Andrew Underwood's got Stephen Ryan on his own, out on the wing. Now he'll give it over the top to Trent Nichols. Stephen Stretch left in no man's land. Richmond have short players everywhere. And Nichols decides to go long towards Hogg. Punched away that time by Rode. First on the scene now is Hogg. Pop one too high, and Jeff Hogg will take the free kick for Richmond. He's out on centre wing. Members side of the ground. Tony Free pushes Grinter in the face, and Grinter says look out, and so up goes Jimmy Steins. Two grabs of it, but the free kick has gone the way of Melbourne, and Spalding will take the free kick for Melbourne. Brendan Gale gives the ball back to Earl Spalding, and Spalding goes towards centre wing. Gary Lyon, the player he's looking for. 1, 2, almost 3 grabs. Would have got on the mark, but it was punched away by Dyson. Through comes Barry Young, gets a push in the back. Call play on, and it's Gary Lyon who picks it up on centre wing. Lyon now places the ball straight over the fence, out of bounds on the full, much to the delight of the Richmond fans. And so the free kick will be taken down right on the boundary line by Scott Turner of Richmond.
And the boundary umpire went in and marked the spot there as Turner goes for a short pass across to Cloak. Cloak near the point of the square in defence. Looking for feet off a hand pass. He does, but it's a sloppy one. It goes to Bannock, who gives it across to Justin Pickering, who gives it back to Bannock. Bannock from inside the centre square. A wobbly old punt up towards centre half forward. Clark pushes the ball away from Naish. Stein's doing the roving work. Gets the handball across to Stephen Clark. And he uses his pace to run through the centre and kick it wide, looking for young Howat. And he marks. He plays on. He's got Beveridge out in front of goal. Beautiful play by Howat. Foot pass to the bouncing Beveridge, and he puts it through for a goal. Terrific play by Howat. And Beveridge has kicked the goal. Unselfish play by John Howat. He saw Beveridge running down the ground, and his foot pass directed perfectly at him. He got a lovely bounce and ran in and kicked the goal. Melbourne back to with a 4-point deficit, 8-6-54. Richmond 8-10-58, 19-20 third term on the Kodak camera and battery scoreboard.
Yeah, isn't a great duel, the actual ruckman, with Jimmy Steins playing almost a kick behind the play one end and Clokey the other way, and it's very absorbing, and both having a very high impact on each side's performance here.
And those same two players in at the centre bounce now. Cloak's up, Steins up high. Got the tap down. Cloak ran straight at Steins, according to the umpire, and Steins will take the free kick. Hooks the ball wide. Doesn't mean to, I don't think, but it goes straight to Bennett. Bennett a hand pass to Cuthbertson from 55 metres out. Cuthbertson towards goal. Howat up. 1-2 grabs. Almost took on the third grab. Bennett comes in. Gets the ball out to Naish. Naish with a hand pass over the top. Lovely piece of shepherding by Barry Young. Allows Craig Lambert to pick the ball up. Hooks it in towards the centre. A great one-hander to Craig Smith. Hand passes on to Tony Free. Back to Smith. The runners are there for Richmond as it's a long hand pass out wide. Mark knocked the mark, but the ball missed that time by Nichols, but he easily gets around and recovers. Nichols goes short looking for Hogg. It's too far for Hogg. Through comes Stephen Clark. Forces the ball over the boundary line. And a throw-in to take place. Forward pocket for Richmond. A great forward move. A lovely piece of shepherding by Barry Young to allow the Tigers to get out of the danger zone. And so we'll find a throw-in to take place. Forward pocket for Richmond. Brendon Gale's there to compete and win the tap out against the Steins. Then he grabs it, Gale, it bounces towards goal, but beautiful defensive work by Brett Lovett. Pushes that one through as Gale put the ball forward, and the Tigers move to 8 goals, 11-59. 5 points ahead of Melbourne, 8-6-54. Kodak Cameron Battery scoreboard as the short one comes out to Spalding. He too goes on with a lead to kick out to the lead of Cuthbertson. Cuthbertson has the ball on centre wing, just chips it over the top. Tingay's first there, try to tap it on, does so, but it's over the boundary line. So a throw-in to take place on centre wing, outer side of the ground.
Kodak Camera and Battery scoreboard has Richmond in front by 5 points, 59-54 as we get a quick score check for the Herald Sun. Simon Beasley.
Minute mark St Kilda 10 goals, 8-66 to North Melbourne 5-10-40.
Bennett got the tap down to Dawson, gathered by Gary Lyon. He gets the hand pass away to Glenn Lovett, who kicks it down towards full forward. Kicked on the volley there by Turner of Richmond and marked by a teammate. It went about 7 metres. Bannock takes the mark in the back pocket, kicks it wide to half back, and it's marked by Lambert just inside the boundary line. Peter Welsh, Princes Park.
Geelong 13-12-90, leading Hawthorn 8-13-61.
Oh, don't like that as it's kicked by Ryan back in towards the centre of the ground, and it's marked by Tony Free. He plays on with a little chip kick. The Knights running with the flight of the ball. Lovely play, lovely vision. Knights short, but too high for Naish, and Road dropping back takes the mark in the last line of defence for the Demons. Melbourne 8-6-54, trailing Richmond 8-11-59. The short kick Road, marked by Glenn Lovett at half-back. His long kick from the 50-metre line down towards centre half forward. Bannock standing firm as well, tackled, picked up by Big Bennett. He barrels the ball out down towards the forward pocket for Turner, who's playing a terrific game. He stayed at full-back. Howat's down at full forward, Bennett at centre half forward. Turner's kick is well placed, and it's marked by Smith at half back for Richmond in front of the members stand. 22-40 third term. The Kodak Camera and Battery scoreboard has the Tigers leading by 5 points, and they're coming home with the win, but a great mark for Melbourne on the members wing, taken by Glenn Lovett. Lovett, who's had the job today on Matthew Knights, is marked. Gale on the mark tells Knights to go and look after his opponent Sporting as the kick goes into centre half forward. Oh, Bennett up high, not paid. A good effort. Kicked off the ground by Stephen Ryan. Back in towards the middle. Grabbed by Steins. Steins a long kick to half forward, but no one home for the Demons. And Craig Smith dropping back takes the mark in the back pocket for the Tigers. He'll switch play to the outer side, looking for young Campbell, who's got away from Tingay. Campbell has taken the mark. No, it's Lees this time. Brian Lees. And he's got 50 metres. I don't know what that was for. Umpire Graham Follett says 50 metres, and Lees will come back and take the kick now from about in the centre of the ground.
So Brian Lees, Richmond back pocket player, and Lees now hits the lead, puts it out towards half forward. Peter Rhodes there for Melbourne though, and takes a timely mark in defence. A quick hand pass on to Brett Lovett, another one to Todd Viney. Over the top he comes to Cuthbertson. Cuthbertson hooks it down towards the forward area, but it's a poor kick, dropping short, and Brian Lees has it once again. Lees of Richmond. The long kick towards centre half forward. Gale, the player, is looking for. Spalding, a great effort to take the mark. Then taps the ball up. Good play by Spalding. Coming out as Cuthbertson. A quick hand pass across to Steins. Over the top with it. It puts Dyson under pressure. He got it back to Steins, who spilled it, but then recovers. Kicks it off the ground. Straight to big David Cloak. The hand pass back to Bannock, who bursts through the centre. Anthony Bannock of Richmond. A long kick to centre half forward. Naish has come out to take the mark. Good play by Naish, and great play by Cloak and Bannock. Beautiful kick to get the ball right out of the defence and down into that forward area. And Naish, who is a lovely kicker of the football. We saw that earlier in this quarter when he kicked a fine goal. Chris Naish will kick from about 45 metres. Naish won't kick it on this occasion as he's hooked it. Goes across the face of goal. Big pack of players up. No one can take the mark. It's off hands and it's hit the behind post. So the throw in right alongside the behind post. forward pocket for Richmond, who lead by 5 points. 59-54. Kodak Camera and Battery scoreboard. Steins grabs it, hand passes across to Dyson, a long wild hand pass, punched on that time. Brilliant play by Peter Road, who might have hurt himself when he did it, and it comes back, kicked off the ground. Spalding picks it up, gets it over to Dyson. Dyson with a hand pass to Todd Viney. The runners are coming from Melbourne this time, as Dyson, not Dyson, is put over the top towards Stretch. Stretch straight down the ground, missed by Howat. Good defensive work by the Tigers. It comes across to Bennett from Smith. Bennett goes long and wide. Stephen Ryan's out there. Would have been a free kick anyway. Is a free kick. And Stephen Ryan will take the free kick at half forward. But Road and Todd Viney now both back up on their feet as the Richmond go forward this time, up towards half forward. Well smothered that time by Earl Spalding. Picked up by Todd Viney, who goes long with a kick right down towards half forward. Bannock shows tremendous courage, but was put to ground. He still then picks himself up now, goes back into the fray. Puts a beautiful tackle on now, picked up by Lyon. Hand pass to Tingay. Tingay gets it across to Ricky Jackson. Jackson swings onto the left foot. He's got a player on his own in the square. Marks right outside Beveridge and just calmly turns around and puts it through for his second for the quarter. Luke Beveridge with his second goal for the term takes Melbourne to 9 goals, 6-60. 1 point up on Richmond, 8-11-59. Kodak, Camera and Battery scoreboard.
Well, isn't enough the 26-minute mark this third quarter with the breeze favouring Melbourne and only 1 point up. One would question, is it enough? But they've come back. They started off the quarter well. They slumped and came back now to lead by 1 point. Beveridge has been a little bit of a catalyst down there. And other than that, the Richmond backline well on top.
Well, they're a point in front at quarter time, Melbourne, and 9 points down at half time. So is it enough as they go at the centre bounce? Dyson tries to knock it on for Melbourne. He gets possession of the footy. Can they get another one before three-quarter time? Down to full forward. Howat out in front of Turner. Picked up by Jackson. He tries to barge his way through. Couldn't do so. The handball comes away by Young of Richmond. Knocked out by Turner. Out towards the 50-metre defensive line, and Tony free. His handball goes to Stephen Ryan, who kicks towards the wing. Grabbed by Hogg. Hogg near the boundary line. Handball's back in for Lambert. Lambert will pop it over the top to Matthew Knights. Knights will wait to draw Steins, but he goes for a kick instead of a handball to Nichols. He's looking for Keays, who'll fly from behind Brett Lovett, so he's forced to punch the ball away. Attempted kick off the ground by Nichols. It comes to Viney, caught with the ball, and the umpire lets play go on. He's still letting it go as it comes to Stretch. Gale's remonstrating with the umpire, wants a free. Richmond working hard. Knights has got it. Now he loses the Chapel forward to Hogg. Naish is up there. Now he's going to free kick Richmond for holding the ball. That's really tough. Really, really tough on the Richmond player. A free kick to Melbourne to be taken by Dyson, and they should have a word or two to say. Kick it on the other side, says Brett Lovett. There's a Melbourne player right over there, and that's where he goes. It's Rodney Grinter. He switched play to the other side. Grinter's mark, goes for a long kick down the ground looking for Tingay, but Lees takes the front position and gives away the free kick. Tingay. Lees doing well. Tingay playing from behind, not good enough. Lee's waiting. He's got free in the centre. That's where he directs the foot pass. Free marks and plays on. Will the Tigers get one before three-quarter time? Keays is wrestling with Lovett, who punches the ball down. Taken off the pack and handball by Naish across to Pickering. Pickering now gets it from Knights. Pickering will kick a goal. He does. The Tigers are back in front. Beautiful play by Naish to Knights to Pickering. And Justin Pickering kicks his first goal, and the Tigers are back in front, 28.5. Third term, 9-11-65 to Melbourne. 9 goals, 6-60 on the Kodak Camera and Battery scoreboard.
Whilst Beveridge has been good for Melbourne up their forward line, Naish has been just as effective up the other end with a couple of marks there and another good handball, and Pickering puts the goal on the board. 5 points up, 28-minute mark of the quarter.
5 points to lead to Richmond. Cloak's there, beaten this time though, but Stein's got the tap out, but it's Knights who gets the ball out to Campbell. Campbell long down the ground. Oh, Keays up over the top has taken a screamer. He hasn't done too much today, but it could be a vital kick, this one, as it will give them an 11-point break. 29 minutes have gone in this third term. Kodak Camera and Battery scoreboard, and Terry Keays has the ball 30 metres out from goal. And Brett Lovett has kept a very tight rein on Terry Keays right through the game, but players with the leap and a marking ability of a Terry Keays are hard to keep down right throughout the quarter or three quarters. So Terry Keays of Richmond, with Richmond holding a 5-point lead. Kodak Camera and Battery scoreboard. Nice looking kick off the boot, and it's 11 points the lead held by Richmond as Terry Keays kicks his second goal. Richmond 10 goals 11, 71, 11-point leaders over Melbourne, 9-6-60. Kodak camera and battery scoreboard as the clock ticks around to 30 minutes.
Let's get a score check for the Herald Sun, Simon Beasley.
Yeah, 23-minute mark here. It's all over Bale. The shouting at St Kilda 12-8, 80 to North Melbourne 5-11, 41.
And Peter Welsh.
Quarter time, 36-point lead to Geelong. Geelong 14-14, 98, leading Hawthorn 8-14, 62.
And from the centre bounce, the ball goes to half forward for Melbourne. Stretch comes through, but Bannock is going to recover quicker. Left foot pass is immaculate to Knights on the wing member's side. Knights takes the mark for the Tigers. Long left foot kick in towards half forward. Hogg gets in front, couldn't hold the mark. The ball spills. Knights follows up. Tries to knock the ball forward, does knock the ball forward. Handball, Gale is good to Pickering, over the top to Lambert. Lambert back to Gale. Gale gets tackled by Lovett in the back, too high. Free kick to Gale. Bad tackle by Glenn Lovett. Brendon Gale between wing and half forward with the free kick. Now he'll play on because he runs inboard, looks for Keays. Cuthbertson will back himself in and take the mark for Melbourne. Fine score.
Yes, Donald McDonald shot for goal and he missed. North Melbourne trailing 7-13, 55 by 25 points. St Kilda 12-8, 80.
And the last quarter underway at the MCG. It's knocked up in the air for Richmond by Barry Young. The ball coming towards the wing on the member's side. Overrun by Todd Viney. Kicked off the ground by Bannock of Richmond. It's going towards the boundary line before Dawson can get there. And it goes over for a throw-in. Bobby Skilton, the interchange players for the start of this final term.
Spalding and Lovell for Melbourne, and Goodwin and Stockdale for Richmond.
Boundary throw in. Boundary umpire Brown puts it back into play. Cloak gets it down to Knights. Quick hand pass out to Underwood, who kicks to half forward. Gale gets underneath it. Well spoilt by Howat, but Gale goes after it again. Pushes the ball out into space. Knocked on by Knights for Naish. Attempted kick off the ground by Grinter. Attempted kick off the ground by Clark. Grinter gets tackled high, right over the shoulder. It was ignored. Dawson gets tackled without the ball, and he gets a free kick on the 50-metre defensive line for Melbourne. 1 minute final term, and now 50 metres.
Kicked it away afterwards. I thought they were meant to have a new ball for the start of each quarter on wet weather days, and today you'd have to classify as wet weather, but yet they've used the old ball.
No new ball. Okay. Dyson for Melbourne. Good call. Robbie Flower in towards half forward, and there's Cloak dropping back. That kick behind the play to take the mark between fullback and centre half back for the Tigers. 1.5 minutes final term. And the Tigers with the breeze in the last quarter, starting with an 11-point lead. Cloak goes short. G. Bannock's been a fine player for them. He runs onto the ball at centre half back and takes the mark and kicks it long off the left boot down towards half forward. The ball tapped out. Here's a chance for Richmond. It looks like Lees with a left foot kicking towards full forward. Brett Lovett kicks the ball off the ground, back from whence it came. Almost a miraculous mark to Lees, taken by Naish. He's well tackled. The ball spills out the back to Stretch. A long hand pass across the ground to Todd Viney. Todd Viney goes for a short pass, poorly directed, right over the head of the target line. Comes to Bannock. Quick hand pass across the Cloak on to Barry Young. Hurried kick back towards the centre of the ground. It bounces in space there, grabbed by Nichols. Nichols across the Knights. Knights beautifully out to Hogg. Superb play. Hogg off the left boot, long over the head of Lovett. It's bouncing to goal. Goal! Goal kicked by Hogg from outside 50. It cleared the lead of Keays and Brett Lovett, and it bounced and skidded on the turf, at slippery turf. And Jeff Hogg kicks his first, and I reckon that's just about enough for the Tigers. 11-11-77. They go to a 17-point lead on the Brooks scoreboard over Melbourne 9-6-60. But I suppose you can never give them away. But gee, it's a handy one for Richmond, Robbie Flower.
Certainly is. Turnover football is what it's about. And Bannock has been a fantastic player in defence. And again, Todd Viney kick was very poor coming down in the forward line.
Cloak against Steins. Steins wins a tap out. Not a decisive one, but it's picked up by Dyson of Melbourne, who drives it long towards centre half forward. Too far for Big Bennett. It's tapped down by Turner. Taken away by Melbourne's Jackson. It's snapped towards goal. Has gone through. And it's back to 11 points. And there's the quick answer for the Demons, with Ricky Jackson putting it through for his first goal. Melbourne 10-6-66. Back to 11 points behind Richmond. 11-11-77. Brooks 3-8K scoreboard.
Yes, and Dyson is a very good kick of the ball. He really pumps that ball downfield. And Ricky Jackson, just what they asked for. It's under the pack. Bennett does not take his marks, and it's obvious that the ball's going to come to the ground. And that's why they've got Beveridge and Ricky Jackson in the pockets.
Umpire Fallett bounces to restart back to 11 points. So a terrific effort by Melbourne as all Knights tried to run through, and Grint is poleaxed a Richmond player, and Underwood. Cloak tries to kick it off the ground. He does to Justin Pickering, whose handball comes out towards Trent Nichols. In goes Obst to put Nichols under pressure. Gets the ball back. Here's a chance for Melbourne. It's kicked forward by Tingay. Down towards half forward. A Melbourne mark taken by Bennett. He's outside 50. Gee, even though he's a long kick, he scores. Oh, a ball burster by Bennett, but it gets in the breeze and floats across the line and out of bounds on the full. Well, he wound up and kicked that one. He almost kicked the cover off it. And it got up in the wind and it just floated across it for a moment. It was going to go through.
It was a crescendo with the voice as well as the ball.
And there's the kick back for the Tigers by Bannock, but Steins takes the front position and marks for Melbourne. Oh, and Campbell gives him a bit of a bip over the chopperoos. And the Melbourne fans looking for 50 metres.
And I think the umpire signalled the wrong direction when he signalled that Steins had it.
And he kicks to Bennett, who marks.
You think that's what the roar was?
Oh, and they're trying to get onto him again. Bennett, well, if he kicked the ball anywhere near as well as his last kick, you'll score from here.
He
He'll
should
kick
make the
from
distance
just
here.
outside 50. He's kicking into a strong breeze.
Well, the last one was the torpedo punt kick, Robbie. What will he go for this time?
Drop punt.
The Demons have lifted, although Richmond got that first goal. It's back to the 11.3 quarter time margin. Big Darren Bennett comes in close to the man on the mark. He winds up, he kicks the cover off, and it's a ball burster. And he's hit right on top of the goal post. He's hit it right on top of the goal post, if you don't mind. Tommy Lahiff, you've been watching football for 497 years. Have you ever seen anything like that before?
No, but it's knocked the knob off the top of the goal post.
So nothing worse. Fancy having your knob knocked off the ball.
Turner of Richmond puts it back, taken by Grinter. Grinter gets the hand pass to Campbell. Campbell puts Richmond towards centre half forward. It's punched away. Clark comes through. A fresh air kick. And he butters up beautifully. Great play, Stephen Clark, as he now puts it out long. Looking for Gary Lyon. Lyon can't take the mark. Should have had a free kick. Beveridge taps the ball on. Melbourne going forward. The short pass coming down to Schwarz. Schwarz is up and has taken the mark in the forward pocket. 35 metres out from goal. Right on the boundary line. It'll be a great goal if he can kick it from here. But the goals from this side of the ground are quite open. And Schwarz would be given every chance from this position. So young Schwarz, David Schwarz of Melbourne, goes across the face of goal. Won't make it. Punched away by the Tigers' cloak, and it's gone through for one rush behind to Melbourne. So Melbourne go to 68, Richmond 77. 9 points the advantage in favour of the Tigers. 10-8 Melbourne, 11-11 Richmond as they go short and wide. It's David Cloak who's on his own. In hot pursuit, Ricky Jackson. A poor kick by Cloak. Straight to Stephen Stretch of Melbourne. He brings it back. Out comes Schwarz once again. And Schwarz has marked 45 metres out. And so Melbourne doing all of the attacking at the moment. Richmond kicking the first goal of the term to move to 17 points to lead, and Melbourne have come back and to do all of the attacking in the last few minutes to now trail by 9 points. Schwarz of Melbourne puts the kick towards goal. It's the post once again. 2 posters for Melbourne this quarter. One by Bennett, one by Schwarz, and Melbourne moved to within 8 points. 10-9, 69 Melbourne. Richmond 11-11, 77. Brooks 3AK scoreboard as we see the kick come wide. Lees has touched it just inside, so there'll be no free kick. Over the boundary line it goes. And Lees in hot pursuit, Tingay. A throw-in to take place, half forward flank for Melbourne. With the Melbourne fans starting to chant to try and lift their side. And they have come back in the last few minutes.
7.5 minutes final term as boundary umpire Perry Brown puts it back into play. Cloak goes up against Steins and gets a beautiful tap away. Through comes Grinter, leaves it for his teammate Cuthbertson. Oh, clever play by Obst. He knocks it across to Grinter, who goes for a long kick down towards the forward pocket. Out comes Big Schwarz, but it's stopped over the line by Barry Young. Cool defensive work right on the 50-metre line at left half forward for the Demons. Oh, it's 10-9, 69. So that's Melbourne trailing Richmond 11-11, 77 by 8 points again. A short throw into this member's side. Cloak leaves it for Lambert when he taps it down in front of the pack. Lambert's hand pass comes out to Jackson. He gets it away to Viney, a poor hand pass. Viney tries to put it back to Jackson. Comes back to Viney, he scoops it back between his legs. The umpire's letting it go now. It should be a free kick to Richmond for holding the ball, but he's going to ball it up on the 50-metre line.
Well, the ball actually slipped out and Lambert hooked it back underneath Tingay.
And let's get a quick score check for the Herald Sun. Simon Beasley.
Secured by 22 points at the 2-minute mark. They're 12-8 to 7-18.
And we go to Peter Welsh.
Geelong 18-14, 122, leading Hawthorn 10-14, 74.
And a free kick for a high tackle on Gary Lyon at centre half forward. The Richmond fans hurting Gary Lyon. Winds up with an old-fashioned torp right down to full forward. Bennett in the goal square. He's marked 3 metres out on a fairly acute angle, but he's on the right side for his... Oh, the umpire's pushed him right around.
The angle is tight from where he did mark it, right on the line.
Yeah, okay, second grab. Darren Bennett, now he sneaks around and fires. He's kicked the goal, the big fella. That's his third. 3 goals to big Darren Bennett. Well, the Demons are fighting back to their credit. They're only 2 points down. It's a thriller. We've got the close one live and exclusive and direct on 3AK football. The goalpost looks all right again, Tommy. And Richmond 11-11, 77. Melbourne 11-9, 75. But to Melbourne's credit, they fought back when they looked on.
Come back and Richmond look as if they've tired. I bet they've got a few fellas limping. But I still think the Tigers can hang on.
9.5 minutes into the quarter. Richmond holding a 2-point lead. Steins gets the tap out. Taken by Lambert. The hand pass straight to the opposition. It's kicked out by Beveridge. Comes back to Gwinter of Melbourne. Gwinter's kick off the side of the boot across the ground. Bennett comes out and Bennett's taken another mark. He's well out from goal, too far to score, and he gets the lead down towards Schwarz out in front. And a lovely mark to Schwarz of Melbourne. Schwarz has marked 40 metres out. Jimmy Steins calling for him to square. Short. Schwarz goes towards goal. He's not going to need Steins. Yes, he is, and Steins is up, but it's off the hands of Steins. And through for 1 point kick by David Schwarz. So it's 1 point to lead to the Tigers. 11-10, 76 Melbourne. 11-11, 77 Richmond. As we find Richmond wanting to get the ball moving. No one to kick it to. So from full-back, we see Turner bring the ball back into play. Up high was Cuthbertson, couldn't take it. Campbell's first there for Richmond. A quick hand pass to Free. Free drives the ball down along towards centre-half forward. 2 Melbourne players up, but it's Road who's taken the mark. Call play on by the umpire. He's forced to hand pass it out quickly. The loose ball comes out. Clark can't get the ball clear. Obst goes over it, and Obst will take the... No, Stephen Clark. Clark of Melbourne, who was tripped and will take the free kick. So Clark at centre-half back. Puts it wide into the centre. Steins up high, taps the ball on, didn't try and take it because it was called by Dyson. Dyson gives a hand pass to Stretch. Stretch has got the lead from Schwarz, who's up high, can't take it on the second grab. It's forced wide. Bennett comes in for Richmond, forces it wide again, kicks it off the ground. Good defensive work by Bennett, up towards centre wing. Kicked off the ground again by Trent Nichols, but it's over the boundary line. A throw-in to take place on centre wing, outer side of the ground. 1 point to lead to Richmond. 11 minutes, 20 seconds into the term. It's 77-76. Brooks 3AK scoreboard.
Sorry, Bobby, as boundary umpire Bar puts it back into play. It's so exciting here as Steins and Gale go up. It's tapped down towards Underwood, but he fumbles and it's taken away by Gary Lyon of Melbourne. Lyon in towards half forward Bennett, but it's punched away by Turner, who's now out on him as Barry Young comes in for Richmond. A bit of a fumble. His hand pass comes across to Lees. Lees gives it away to Free. Free kicks from half back towards half forward. Knocked on by Hogg to Naish, beautiful. On to Lambert. Lambert handballs back to Knights, who slips over. In goes Clark. It's out towards Gale, who handballs back to Pickering. A fumble. They'll lose it here. In goes Clark. He should get a free kick. No, says the umpire as Glenn Lovett takes it to ground. He's pushed in the back. Advantage well paid. Melbourne come away with it. And the ball is kicked by Todd Barney. Deep into attack, and it's marked by Schwarz. And he's paid a free kick for a push. Stephen Ryan now playing on the boy back there. Schwarz gets the hand pass away. Beautiful clearing foot pass by Bannock out to Cloak. Cloak from half back on the members' side. Oh, what a beautiful kick that is too. Onto the lead by Naish. Naish on the wing on the members' side. Goes short looking for Knights, but he's outpointed this time by Glenn Lovett, who's beautifully tackled by young Campbell, but he just gets boot the ball as Campbell applied the tackle on Glenn Lovett. And the ball is out of bounds in front of the members stand at right half forward for the Tigers, who are kicking to the big scoreboard goal in this final term, and they lead the D's by a point on the Sports Power scoreboard at the 12:50 mark of the final term. 77-76. Stein gets it down, but it's taken by Knights. His handball's mothered Lambert. Beautiful shovel out to Campbell. Campbell of Richmond to full forward. Brett Lovett is there with Keays, and a fantastic mark taken by Brett Lovett on the last line of defence. 29,415 the crowd. Not one of them have left. It's been a fantastic game.
So Brett Lovett from the goal square decides to come to the members' side of the ground. Jimmy Steins up in front, punched away by Gale. First there Viney, taps the ball past Knights over the boundary line. So we're throwing to take place. Half forward front for Richmond, members' side of the ground. Richmond lead by 1 point. Sports Power 3AK scoreboard. 77 to 76. 13 and a half minutes into the final term. Steins grabs the ball out of the ruck, loses possession though. It's forced forward by the Demons and it goes over the boundary line once again. So Melbourne have got the ball about 20 more metres away from the Richmond goal, and it's midway between half forward and centre wing for the Tigers, members side of the ground. Right in front of the smokers stand at the MCG. Steins with Gale. Gale gets a tap down to Lambert. Lambert a hand pass up the top. Tapped on by Campbell. The ball comes out now to Cuthbertson. Copped on too high. Cuthbertson tackled too high. Got boot to ball, but it'll be brought back, and Darren Cuthbertson of Melbourne will take the free kick at half-back flank.
Let's check the scores for the Herald Sun. Simon Beasley.
Yes, St Kilda still leading at the 10-minute mark there. 13-8, 86 to North Melbourne, 7-17, 59.
Bennett beautifully taps the ball over the back. It's grabbed by Stretch. Stretch has tackled, just see what boot will, but it goes through for full points, and Melbourne are 5 points in front. Great play by Bennett, made no attempt to take the mark. Hooked it over the top to the runner in Stretch, who did the rest. Put it through for his first goal, and Melbourne lead by 5 points. 12-10, 82, Richmond 11-11, 77, Brooks 3AK scoreboard.
And Bennett really has lifted his game, and Schwarz has added something up at the full forward line too. And after being well down early, these two players are very the instigators as Cuthbertson comes off the ground and Lovett comes back on.
And Peter Welsh at Princess Park.
Mate, Geelong 12-15, 135. Hawthorn 10-15, 75.
And the boy, thank you very much. The ball in the centre kicked off for the Tigers by Cloak. Out towards half forward. Hogg gets his hands on the ball for Richmond. He looks for Gale. He gives Howat a lovely little hit and he takes the mark. Not paid. The ball at half forward. It's Bills. Gale picks it up. Handball back to Hogg. Hogg a left foot snap. Right into the goal square looking for Justin Pickering. Grinter is right there. Pickering has pushed off the ball by Clark and it goes out of bounds in the right forward pocket. Well, we're going to have another draw. Well, we had one already in this round on Saturday, of course. Footscray and Richmond out at the Western Oval, and the Demons lead here by 5. Footscray and, what did I say? Richmond. Footscray and Sydney at the Western Oval. Boundary umpire Brown, a longer throw in that time. Tapped down by Steins. Quick kick away by Lovett, but it comes to Naish. Naish will fire it. Goal! He's just offline and through from behind. Kicked by a little Chris Naish of Richmond. 4 points the difference. Melbourne 12-10, 82. Richmond 11-12, 78. 16 minutes final term. Univic scoreboard.
Short pass comes out to the back pocket where Lovett has taken the mark. Now steadies the situation up. Elects to go for the long kick this time. Steins the player he's looking for. Up in front, it's tapped away. Road gets a hand pass over to Viney. Todd Viney of Melbourne swings it in towards the centre, but it's straight for the opposition. Cloak was up, missed the mark, but gets the free kick anyway. So David Cloak will repel that attack. Thought about the hand pass, now gives the hand pass out to Barry Young. Young goes short in towards the centre. Nichols takes it, dummies, gets around the player, puts it towards centre half forward, but lovely mark. A fine effort that time by Andrew Obst coming across the front of the pack. Obst now goes short. A poor kick, but it's picked up well by Jimmy Steins. The hand pass over the top towards Stretch. Stretch from half back, quick to bring the ball back. Todd Viney dives out, can't take the mark. It's forced out of the hands of Lambert. A throw according to the umpire, and this time we'll see a free kick go the way of Melbourne, and Andrew Obst has moved up the ground once again. Hand passes wide to Stephen Stretch, who plays on immediately and goes long towards half forward. No mark taken. Gary Lyon couldn't take it. Through comes Ricky Jackson. A quick hand pass to Beveridge from 55 metres. Beveridge towards the goal square. Schwarz is up. Can't take the mark in the square. Coming through and rushed through for one behind to Melbourne. So Melbourne on the 3AK scoreboard moved to 12 goals, 11-83. 5 points up on Richmond, 12, 78 as Keays comes off for Richmond. Goodwin back on, and Richmond playing with a short kick out towards Craig Smith. Beautiful pass from Smith to Lees at half-back. Lees runs towards centre wing and puts it on straight down to centre half forward. Punched away by Road. It comes straight to Goodwin, who's just come on. Beautifully tackled, but he got boot to ball. Picked up by Hogg. Tried to hook it towards Knights. Out comes Grinter. Took his eye off the ball. Through comes Hogg. Great play by Howat. He showed tremendous courage. Knights picks the ball up. Gets a hand pass out. Beautifully smothered by Grinter. Magnificent play by both Howat and Grinter. Both great defensive efforts. Fine football. And we see the ball rushed over the boundary line. So a throw-in to take place.
18 minutes final term. Boundary umpire Brown puts it back into play. Steins gets it across. Good tap to Road. Road a short distance check across to the 50-metre defensive line. Through comes Dawson. Gets it across to a teammate Viney, who tripped over his own man. His handball goes back. Tempted kick off the ground. It's shovelled out by Naish to Barry Young. His short kick goes to Hogg on the 50-metre line. He pops the hand pass over the top to Underwood. He does well. Then gives a hand pass pass to Free, gives it on to Hogg. Hogg has a shot to goal, and the Tigers are back in front. Fantastic play by Richmond. How did Hogg get through there? His 62nd goal for the quarter. And the Tigers are back in front. No, they're not. Yes, they are. By a point. I'm sorry, right the first time I thought that Melbourne score said 13 goals. It's 12-12-84 to 12-11-83, and a fantastic game at the MCG, Robbie Flower.
Yes, two Melbourne players ran into one another as Hogg snuck through the gap, and as Cuthbertson waits to come back on the ground, it'll be interesting to see who they're going to pull off.
1 point the lead to Richmond as Cuthbertson gets ready to come back on. Ball back in the centre. 19 minutes into the term. 83-84 with Richmond holding a 1 point lead. Steins against Cloak. Cloak up high, but Steins got the tap out, sharked away by Lambert. The long kick straight down the ground. Brett Lovett was up, couldn't take the mark. Howat came through, got tackled too high. Howat gets another tackle. Pax palms up, and the ball will be bounced 20 metres out from the Richmond goal, with Richmond holding a 1 point lead, 84-83. Big pack of players around this bounce. Gale's there to do the ruck work for Richmond. Steins for Melbourne as Tingay comes off for Melbourne, and Cuthbertson to go back onto the ground. Steins is there, wins the tap out, gets it straight down. Clark gets the hand pass out over the top. Clark accepts the hand pass from Obst, gives it on over the top to Lovell. Lovell has time. No, he took the gamble, and he trips. Full play on now as he goes on with the advantage. No, the umpire will bring the ball back. Fortunate for Melbourne because it went straight to Cloak, and so Andy Lovell took a gamble. It nearly didn't come off, but he's got the free kick now. Lovell of Melbourne swings it round towards centre wing. Oh, up high as Lees, but couldn't take the mark. Through comes Cuthbertson, puts a long kick down the ground. Schwarz coming out. Ricky Jackson comes across, couldn't mark it, but comes back to Schwarz. The head pass over the top, taken by Dyson. A goal to Melbourne as Ricky Jackson puts it through, and Jackson has kicked his, what is it now, second goal. 2 goals for the term to Jackson, and Melbourne are back in front. 13-11-89 to Melbourne. Richmond 12-12-84. 5 points to lead. Brooks 3AK scoreboard.
Let's get a quick score check for the Herald Sun. Simon Beasley.
15-minute mark secured us to Leasley. 13-9-87 to North. 7-17-59.
And Peter Welsh.
23-minute mark Geelong 2016 136 leading Hawthorn 10-17-77.
And the ball back in the centre with umpire Graham Follett. The Demons lead by 5 points at the 21-minute mark of the final term. Steins against Cloak, who grabs it. His kick only goes a couple of metres. A handball by Lambert, but Steins charges through. In goes Smith. Smith for Richmond kicks the ball out towards the half-forward line. Goodwin leading in the race for the ball. Shepherding by Hogg, but Goodwin can't control it. Yes, he does. He keeps it in. Now he's tackled by Rode, and Rode knocks the ball across the line and out of bounds for a throw-in. Between wing and half-forward down in front of the Tigers bench, in front of the members' pavilion. 29,415 fans have seen a fantastic contest here as boundary umpire Brown puts it back into play. The Demons lead by 5 points as Goodwin gets it down to Free. Left foot kick to half forward and a fantastic mark by Rode. Should be 50 metres against Hogg. Silly play by Jeffrey Hogg. Rode a terrific mark, and after the mark had been awarded, Hogg pushed him into the ground. And the free kick, the mark and the 50 metres will go to Peter Rode of Melbourne, who's played a pretty solid game on Jeffrey Hogg, who slipped away for 2 goals in this final term.
That's costly, putting him right down, a chance to put it right in the forward line now.
So Rode with a kick straight towards centre half forward. Gary Lyon was up, couldn't take the mark, so it comes out wide. Underwood first there for Richmond, kicks it off the ground. It goes in towards the centre. Viney comes out for Melbourne. Oh, beautiful play, Viney. He tapped it back to Dyson. Dyson comes across the ground. Richmond in the van. It's taken by Free. Plays on immediately and goes long and direct straight towards centre half forward. A fine mark by Stephen Clark of Melbourne. Call play on by the umpire, and a hand pass comes from Rode to Howat. Howat on towards centre wing, and this time the mark's missed that goal. Centre almost to Obst. Obst sees the ball taken up by Lees. Lees a quick hand pass to Lambert, and it's Richmond who go forward now. But Lambert's done one hand pass to Matt Winnie. It missed Naish. It was picked up by Glenn Lovett. Through comes Beveridge. Held. Should have been a free kick to Beveridge. Now it's to be a free kick to Lyon. Umpire's missing it. Tapped back by Lyon. Comes towards Lees. He can't pick it up. Smith taps the ball forward from Richmond. Out comes Obst this time. He's got it. A hand pass across to Dyson. Dyson will go long and direct. It's a long kick by Dyson up towards the half-forward line, and Bennett uses his body beautifully and takes what is eventually an easy chest mark, but well judged by Anthony Bennett of Richmond.
Between the back pocket and half back on the members' side, Bennett kicks the ball ball towards the wing, looking for big Andy Goodwin. Over the back of the pack, it's well smothered by Obst. He pushes it out to Todd Viney, whose short pass is charged down. It rebounds to Goodwin, who handballs to Knights, who wants to get back onto the left boot. He does. A kick to half forward. Justin Pickering cleverly out the back for Naish. Open goal. Can he pick it up? No. Out comes Howat again. He's caught with the ball. They'll play on, but Pickering picks it up and does a reverse boot, but for a goal! Goal to Justin Pickering, and the Tigers are back in front by a point, and that's his second goal. Oh, it's goal for goal. It's magnificent football, and Justin Pickering has put it through with a reverse screw punt, and there's going to be another change to Melbourne. Tingay back on and Lovell coming off. 24 minutes final term. The Brooks scoreboard: Richmond 13-12-90, Melbourne 13-11-89.
Well, didn't they throw it away in front of the members' stand here when they just fiddled around with the ball rather than pumping it forward, trying to get distance with their kicks?
1 point to lead to Richmond. Cloak up, punched away by Steins. Through comes Lyon. Can't take it. Glenn Lovett comes through for Melbourne. Bumped out of the way, but the loose ball comes towards Jimmy Steins. Great play by Lees of Richmond. He gets a quick hand pass to Free. Free goes forward, puts it out to the centre wing. Out comes Knights. First there, but he bundled out of the way. Diving in on top of the ball, but it suits Richmond to go forward. Nichols takes it, but a free kick will come out of it. It'll be brought back, and the kick will be taken by Matthew Knights of Richmond. So when it's relayed back from Chris Naish, Matthew Knights will take the free kick on centre wing. Knights of Richmond has his side with a 1 point advantage, 1 point to lead on the Sports Power 3AK scoreboard, and Matthew Knights now puts a long kick down towards the forward pocket. Up high was Gale, taken by Naish, a quick snap towards goal! That's a ripper by Naish. He's put it through for full points. A great goal by Chris Naish. His second. And Richmond now have a 7 point advantage. 14-12, 96. Melbourne 13-11, 89. And we're 14 seconds into time on Brooks 3AK scoreboard.
Well, gee, when the ball goes down the Melbourne forward line, there just doesn't seem to be urgency on that forward line as it did down the other end. Gary Lyon looking very tight up there, but Naish, he's got some pace on the Richmond forward line, broke away, and a very good goal, and not an easy goal at all, on the left foot and snapped it.
Umpire Shan bounces, Cloak smashes it, centre square infringement, free kick to Cloak. Melbourne must have had an extra or too many players in there.
It's inexcusable that a free kick against the side for that.
Oh, he goes for a short pass. It's okay. It only goes just the required distance across to Turner. Now they'll play keepings off. At the 26-minute mark of the final term, Melbourne have got to score 2 kicks to tie it up. It's all win it. Beautiful kick, a ball bursted towards full forward, and a fine mark for Melbourne, not paid. It comes out to Lambert. Lambert handball back towards Campbell. Campbell pick it up just inside the boundary line. He screws it back over his shoulder into the forward pocket, but Steins is there to mark for the Demons. The Tigers by 7 points. Over 26 minutes played final term as it comes out towards the wing. Free was up high for Richmond. Knocked back by Campbell to the Tigers. Taken by Glenn Lovett. He's searching for someone to kick it to. He goes for a long kick. That's a beautiful kick down towards Bennett and Turner, who punches the ball away. In goes Jackson with the fall of the ball for Melbourne. He handballs back to another long kicking player in Dyson. He goes for a foot pass, but Stephen Ryan leads in front of Schwarz and takes a fine mark. And Knights makes space on the wing on the outer side. The kick goes in that direction. Stretch comes in to spoil, and the umpire's free kicked him for a front on charge. Pretty tough that time, because I thought Stretch did fairly well in his endeavour, but Knights with the free kick. And it's just about now all over Red Rover. 27 minutes final term.
Knights with the short pass out to Justin Pickering, taken away from him by Brett Lovett. Brilliant play, Lovett. Hand pass across to Todd Viney, who missed it. He able to keep cover and go after it again from the point of the centre square into forward area and straight to the waiting arms of Stephen Ryan, who gets a hand pass across. Hand pass back again to Bannock. Bannock sees the ball from Craig Smith come towards centre wing, and it's a short pass, very calm and cool as Bannock. And he saw the lead from Tony Free, who Free now goes back towards Bannock and Campbell. Campbell slides forward. Richmond playing a possession game at the moment. They've got the situation in hand. 27.5 minutes. It's 89 to 96. 7 points to lead. Melbourne needs to score at least two on 2 occasions. Goodwin was up high, couldn't take the mark. At the back it's Road, who drives it back in towards the centre. Touched off the boot. Matters not, because Smith takes it. Hand passes to Lees in the centre of the ground. A long kick down to the forward area. Gale's up in front. Can't take the mark. Melbourne in the van. Lovett picks it up. Brett Lovett, that is. Hand passes to Clark. Hand pass over the top to Lyon on centre wing. Lyon desperate to get the ball moving in a hurry. Stephen Ryan, too quick on that occasion. Punches the ball over the boundary line. So a throw-in to take place at half forward flank for Melbourne, outer side of the ground. Melbourne 89. Lyon down there. It looks as though he might get... No, it's Bennett who comes in to go against Cloak. Bennett there. Cloak wins the tap out. Tapped on again. Through comes Stephen Stretch. Picks it up just inside the boundary. Slips it, he kicks it, but he gets it to Lyon. Mark, who plays on, goes straight towards goal, but he's offline. 1 point, and so it's 6 points the lead held by Richmond. Melbourne 13, 11, 18, 90. 13, 12, 90. Richmond 14, 12, 96. 28 minutes, 50 seconds into the final term, and it's 1 goal the difference as we see Turner of Richmond taking his time. He'll take all the time in the world to bring the ball back into play. He's a lovely kick of the football. This one's no exception. Great kick by Turner, right out towards half-back. Bennett was up, couldn't take the mark. Tap forward, out towards Stephen Stretch. Stretch first there, taps the ball back towards Obst. Obst can't gain possession. Dives into the back of a Richmond player, over the boundary line. No, it hasn't gone over the boundary line yet. Melbourne at the chances. Viney picks it up towards the forward area. Ryan was pushed in the back and called. Melbourne put it through, but it's a free kick to Richmond. Pushing the back, there was no doubt about that one. Stephen Ryan will take the free kick for the Tigers, and the Tiger fans breathe again. Ricky Jackson put it through, but it was a goal that was not allowed. Tony Free and Ricky Jackson having a few words and pushing and shoving back behind play, but it's Stephen Ryan who puts it back towards centre wing. Through comes Brett Lovett, can't pick it up. Steins does, gets a little short kick, but it's straight to the opposition, and Craig Smith of Richmond has marked it half back.
30 minutes gone, final term. The Tigers leading by 6 points, 96 to 90 on the Brooks scoreboard. Smith goes for an old-fashioned torp round towards the wing. 2 bites of the cherry. Steins couldn't hold it. Kicked off the ground for the Tigers by Hogg up towards half forward. Road first to the loose ball. Tackled well by Naish. Richmond with the numbers at the ball. Can they break clear? Dyson's in there working for Melbourne. The ball comes out of the pack towards Little Knights. Lovett, Glenn Lovett right on his hammer, and Knights is content to see the ball over. It's at 50 metres, and there's 6 points up, and there's 30 and a half minutes gone final term. Boundary umpire Barr puts it back into play. Goodwin's hanging on to Steins. He gets the tap out the back. There's the siren. There's the siren. And the Tigers have won by 6 points. Richmond have defeated the Demons by 6 points at the MCG in a magnificent contest. It's certainly going to open up everything here at the MCG, with Richmond beating Melbourne, Geelong thrashing Hawthorn, North Melbourne losing, and it's really going to open up those positions in the top 6. Credit to both sides. A great game. Full marks. The lead changing constantly in the final term, but the Tigers, who led by 11 points at three-quarter time, have run out winners by 6 points. 14 goals, 12, 96 to 13 goals, 12, 90. A 6-point win to the Tigers. 14 goals, 12, 96 to Melbourne. 13 goals, 12, 90. The Demons scored 4 goals, 6 in the last quarter to Richmond's 4-1, but it wasn't enough.